Concerned about the future of this country, and I'm so worried about the regressive and divisive ideas being presented by the regressive left, especially the ideas coming from Sanders and Warren. How do we ensure that we don't spend the next 4 years backwards under identity political fighting from a Democratic president? If you think that Sanders is doing identity politics, I kind of don't know what to tell you, man. Sanders is pushing good policy. And I don't know what you mean by the regressive left. Every single time I ask somebody that, they're not really able to define what the regressive left is. They just basically boil down to like what? That's what I mean. Like, what? Like, okay, I don't mean to laugh at you. It's just, it's such a tired argument. Because it turns us into modern day non-secular tribes fighting in an oppression Olympics. Okay. I say actually look up some leftist policies. I'm literally trying to answer your question. Literally, what you've been told to believe about the left is not true. There's an extent that we do. Okay, well, I'm trying to answer your question. Because that actually does not exist. That actually does not exist. You may have been sold on the belief that is because we do, like, actually recognize that different people exist and, you know, are cool with them. Have no problems with them. Ugh. Well, I think that there's a good reason for that. I mean, it's not the only thing. You cannot... there's a lot more than that, but... You mean labels like the regressive left? Oh my god, this is getting silly, man. That's a weird place to take this. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, yes, I am. I actually do not. I mean, I do know that there is a huge left contingent on Twitch, a lot more than there is, say, on YouTube. YouTube is overwrought with right-wing belief systems, so, you know, why can't we have this? I'm pretending to be a gamer? Who's who's pretending to be a gamer? There, look. Okay, okay. They're on here because they do well on here. I'm not a lib gamer. I'm left of libs, way left of libs. It's going, Leveler. So, like, here's the thing, Mo Money. Did you actually come in here to have a conversation or just to throw a bunch of accusations at people? Because, I mean, that's the problem. Like, That's where the conversation is getting sidelined right now. Is because you came in, you asked me one question, I attempted to answer it, and it's been a whole lot of accusations about what you believe the left is, you know, and the left always does this. I don't know. Centrist libertarian. Okay. Give me a second. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm gonna recommend you when they do a Brexit one, man, because you're very knowledgeable about that. I have to work our way up. Why? All right, let's do this. Hey, man.
Hey,
I I got someone begging to come in. Um, they're saying some nonsense in my chat, so
oh, okay.
yeah, we'll play later, man.
Yeah, yeah, no problem, no problem.
All right, later. Okay. Go ahead and enter the call waiting when you get in, and I'll be waiting for you. I'll drag you in. I guess we'll do this. Hi there.
Hey, how's it going?
Not too bad. Um, so what do you want to talk about, man?
Well, I mean, I'm just concerned, just a lot of the political folks on Twitch. I mean,
Hey,
there's
Frozen
so
Harlequin.
many folks on the left, right?
Okay.
Central Committee, the CERT. I mean, I can go on and on. And, what I do is I get on the shows and I just chat to leftists and I try to learn
Mm-hmm.
where I can, but I also end up sort of exposing them in front of their audiences and just proving how much, some of their ideas are nonsense. So that's about, that's what I do. And so, yeah, man, I'm just concerned, like, the left is basically turning this country into secular tribes, right?
I
And
wouldn't
it's,
say that. I would say that that's
you hear,
more of a problem on the right, that they're a lot more tribal than the left. Actually, there's a lot on the left that we disagree on. Like there isn't like a left. Like we disagree on a lot of shit. There's a lot of things that we can agree on, of course, but there's a lot of things that, I mean, it's part of the reason why Hillary Clinton didn't get voted in the first place, because we couldn't agree that it was much better to have her as president than, say, Trump. And there's still
right,
that type of fighting on the left.
right. Well, but I mean, I'm watching some of these debates and like kind of tuning into the streams as they analyze them and stuff. And I hear the same sort of So let me give you an example of this the secular tribalism that we're seeing more and more from the left. I can't watch a single Dem debate and listen to a single idea without having to filter through every single candidate of the US, some sort of racist or misogynist or bigot. And I'm like, okay, guys, like we understand you might not like something about him, but like, why don't you just start with his ideas instead of saying that he's some sort of racist, right? Like, like, and I just see it in every single candidate that you guys are presenting. And it's like they start off the talk, well, let me tell you, Donald Trump is the worst guy in human history. It's like, man, like that's not what the question's about. Like, why don't you talk about policy? So, this is the kind of or like, I hear a lot of these lefty and it's, I hear it up and down the stack, and it's like, as a Black Latinx queer woman from a single mother who turned out to be trans, like it's like you gotta like justify your full identity, have an opinion on the left, versus I never see that from folks on the right. So this is the sort of just concern that I have, and it's just teaching folks in this country to be professional victims. It's saying, hey, don't like make something of yourself in the world's best country in on earth, play this game of oppressionhood and try and hope that, Elizabeth Warren is going to take a slice out of rich people and so I just that's my concern, and I see this it's just growing on Twitch, man, and so I'm concerned, So
Um,
yeah, so what's your take on it? I mean, obviously my guess is, you're going on Central Committee and they sort of only like one type of thinking, right? Like, yeah, yeah. I mean, there's no knock against them. I mean, it's your right to only sort of want to hang out with other leftists. But yeah, I mean, what's your view? How do we fix this? How do we make sure that,
well, you have
someone
to you
someone
have
wins?
to you have to realize that I don't agree with your premise at all because,
Is that
like,
right? Okay.
yeah, because literally the left spends most of its time fighting each other. We literally can't agree on most things.
So
Like,
how are you guys going to run the most powerful country in the world if you can't agree?
well, I mean,
Like
that's
this is why Trump
that's the trick of
has
it.
like.
That's the trick of it. We do have to find some common ground. But the thing with candidates calling him a racist, of course, I believe that they call him a racist too much, and yes, they should talk about policies. But I mean, the thing is, uh, yeah, his policies. I mean, pick one.
Wait, hang on. Do you, okay, we can start here, but I don't, I mean, this is not the best more, but
Well,
do
I
you
mean,
actually think Donald Trump
you
is
gave me
a
a lot.
racist?
You gave
Like,
me a lot to unpack. You kind of gish gabbed and gave me a lot of things to respond to.
sure,
So
okay.
if you want to pick just one, let's pick just one. So your overall focus is that the left does nothing else but talk about how racist Trump is, right?
Yeah, and it's an example of how identity politics trumps policy for the left. And if we let someone in 2020, which I hope we don't, from the Democratic Party into the office of the president, I think we're going to go back for 4 years until this country wakes up and says, enough with trigger warnings, enough with, you know,
You said trigger
ri-
warnings. Oh my god.
right? No, no, no. But I'm giving you examples of what.
But I mean that you don't. Okay. You're
Okay,
just
okay.
using
So
buzzwords now, man. You're just using buzzwords.
I mean, I can unpack some of these. Like, it's like, I mean,
Can you give me an example of an actual quote that you've heard from someone on the left that is doing this, like, and that you can attribute to a lot of people
sure.
doing
So,
the same?
so I was in a trans streamers chat. I forgot who it was. Oh, it was Izzy Bear, and
Okay,
we were,
I'm aware of
and
her.
I mean, and again, she's very outspoken, and I have, my own views on the trans community, but I'm also interested in learning. So anyways, I was there, and very typical leftist chat, very, and anyways, and so we're chatting, and it kind of got heated, and I called her a he, okay, and or I said him or something, and as soon as I typed that out, like the mocks, like everyone just got completely triggered, like, oh my God, misgendering ban, 10-minute timeout, and it's like these people can't understand that, like, in the heat of a moment, for example, like, she thinks she's a woman, right, and I see her as a man, right, and so sometimes, like, the speech will slip, right, and like these people absolutely lose it. So instead of like focusing on the ideas, they sort of like games, and again, I
Well,
know
I
that
mean,
this
what you're
kind of
doing
sounds
is really
sounds like Ben
insulting. You
Shapiro.
do understand that,
Well, but
right?
it's well, no, 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 no. But I mean, there's
But
two
it
sides
is.
to it.
It's
Like,
really insulting.
but
Like
I
if
was
I
there
if
for
I just
I was there
started
for 20
insulting,
minutes.
if I started insulting you out of nowhere, whether it's in the heat of the moment or not, you're
But
going to get upset.
here's
And
the
if you
thing.
have a
You
chat
gotta
that hang on. If
okay.
you have a chat that reacts to something like that, you're going to get piled up on.
Sure,
Yes.
sure. No, no, no. And I get it. I get it. If it
It
okay,
doesn't
but
really
here's
seem
but
quite
but
like
but here's
you
the thing. Like
do
like
though.
Izzy doesn't pass, right? So like you can clearly
That
like
doesn't matter.
I'm explaining is like in the heat of a moment when she's very sort of on her sort of edge of her seat, and I'm on the edge of my seat. She does not present as a furious woman. Like it just in that moment, I thought I was talking to a man, as you and I would with each other, even if you like pretended to tell me that like you identified as a woman, and like you know what I mean. So it's one of these
But
things where like,
you did understand at the time that she's trans.
of course, well, I was in her chat for 20 minutes. We're having a very sort of
Uh
great
huh.
back and forth. It wasn't rude, not
So
like
then
exactly how I presented in your chat. Anyway, so all I'm saying is, you kind of
you
took
come off
issue
a
with
bit
the
aggressive
the
because
the, the
you
trigger
type a
warnings.
lot. You type and say a lot. You do recognize that, right?
Sure, I
Like
mean,
I
but this
couldn't
is
even respond to anything before you
okay.
had like another paragraph up for me to respond to.
Okay, so this is an example of how leftists talk. What you just did there, which is you're coming off as XY, like you wanna strip the ideas out of their sense of purpose and just want to make it about the person
We
or the
haven't even
emotion.
gotten to the ideas because
So let's
you
we can do that.
okay, let's strip this all away because the problem is it is how you talk to people. And in order to get to those ideas, because I've talked to a number of right wing people, and if we get directly to the ideas, I can actually talk to them. Right Side of History is a good person that I can actually talk
I,
to.
I
And
like
I've
him.
talked
Yeah.
to several times about things. We may never agree on anything, but I actually like talking to the guy because he has a conversation with me. He doesn't shout buzzwords at me. He doesn't just keep saying the same thing over and over. He doesn't gish gallop, you know. So, and he doesn't come off aggressive like that
Right.
because that is the thing. So, if you're having this problem repeatedly over and over, the problem is not the streamers, it's not leftists, it's you, bud. Okay? So, let's
So
start there. Give me
okay.
one
So
thing to respond to with no buzzwords, no nonsense, and give me a quote from somebody that you can actually say does this on the left.
so do you think that Donald Trump is a racist?
Yes, I do.
So I th I don't know how people think that and believe that. And so
Would you like me to explain it to you?
yeah, I mean, I'd love to learn how half the population thinks that again. And okay, so go ahead, explain it.
Okay. We can start all the way back to when he was running real estate for his dad, and how it was found that he was, uh, you know, segregating how he was allowing people in. He would not allow black people into his properties. He was prosecuted by the government for doing that. we can move a little bit forward,
Well, hang
and
on. Can we stop at that point in time? So when was this? Like 60s, 70s, 80s?
I believe it was like the early 70s.
Okay. And do you think that in the prosecution records, do you actually think that Donald Trump was screening every one of his guests and saying this patron based on his color can enter, this person can't? Like, are you telling me that he did that, or
I mean, that's
or
what
or,
everything
or, or
showed. That
someone
he
had a
he
civil rights
he.
claim against
I
a
mean,
private
there
business
was
that
quotes
was
from him around the time saying that he didn't want black people in his properties because he believed they were dirty.
okay. So can I ask you this? Do you think was that like a prevailing view at the time? Like, was he the only person, only property developer back then that had this idea?
It
Again,
doesn't matter whether or not
I'm
he's the
assuming
only
I'm
one.
assuming
This is after the
I'm
Civil
assuming
Rights. This is
I
after
understand.
the
I
Civil
understand.
Rights Act is passed. It doesn't matter.
Okay, I understand. I understand. But and so you're telling me that out of all the property developers that were doing his line of work back then, this guy, everyone was progressive, and they were all like
No,
so
it doesn't
all I'm
matter
saying
what
is
all of them were. It doesn't matter if
what you're
half of them
saying is
were. It
true.
doesn't
I don't
matter
think it's
at all.
more.
The fact that we're talking about one person. We're talking about one person who ran a business in this way. So if he was reacting in this way, you don't just let that
Do
go.
you do
Especially
you
when
think that
I can give several other examples of him being racist without
do
even
you
getting
do
to
you
his
think
presidency.
do you think that your parents and my parents did things in their lifetime? Like again, so like
Yes,
that they did things that you and I would probably regret. I don't know how old you are.
I'm
I'm in
34.
my okay, so we're very very close in age, and so
Yeah, there are some racist things that my parents have done. Yes.
yes,
My dad's big
and
thing because
so all I'm
he's a
saying,
Vietnam
yeah,
vet. He gets really weird around Asian people. It's something
again,
I've had to learn to deal with, and he knows I don't like it.
of course,
Hmm.
and so all I'm saying is like if you're telling me that um a man 30, 40, 50 years after you've shaken the skeletons out the closet is the first thing you do is you just look at him and say racist. I would just ask you, are you guys on the left doing that with your parents? Are you doing that with people in your lives? Like, do you
Well,
like start a conversation and say,
my dad never stopped anybody from getting a job or getting housing because they
I
were black or anything
I
like that.
promise you,
In
I
fact, he was
promise
actually
you.
very open to black people, including the fact that
Okay,
my
okay,
wife
and
is black,
I'm
and
sure he's yeah,
I
yeah.
met her
I got
through him and a
I
long
got you. I
time
got you.
family
All I'm
relationship.
saying is, I'm not saying your specific father. I'm waking you up to the idea that there are people in your life currently today who,
You're not waking me up to anything. I fully accept it.
okay, and
But
so
again, I'm going to say
start a
none of
conversation
them are
by saying,
powerful enough to block black people and to be prosecuted by the government for doing so after
okay,
the Civil Rights Act was passed. And that's not even like that's the first and only. That's just the first of many examples that I can give you.
I mean, this is
I can keep
I
going. I
even
can go to the
assume that,
90s
that
if you like.
what you told me. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Um, have you ever heard of the Central Park Five?
Oh,
Okay, so this was a group of black teens that were wrongly prosecuted
so
for the
okay,
rape and
wrongly
murder of a
prosecuted.
woman,
Okay,
a white
all right.
woman.
So I'm gonna assume what you're telling me is true, by the way, which I did a
Oh,
little
it's
bit.
110% true.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Donald Trump, at the time when the trial was going on, took out a full page ad in the New York Times to promote them getting the death penalty. After they were exonerated, he said, well, they probably did something. We should probably give them the death penalty anyways.
So you're upset that he has views that we should be punishing people with the death penalty? Are you upset?
Well,
What
I
is
mean, he's not saying this about people that are white. He's saying this. He's saying
well, hang
specifically.
on.
The only reason he's saying well, they probably did something, and saying they need the death penalty because they quote unquote did something. These black teens who weren't convicted of doing anything wrong. you know,
And
who
there's
were
two sides to every
exonerated.
story. So like I think what
But
you're sharing
things
with me
add up.
is the kind of
You do
is
understand
the
that things add up, right? And no, he's not going to be
oh
like
no
found saying the N word because you think that's the bar that makes it a racist.
no no
No,
let me give you the bar. The bar is
racism is a lot more expressive than that and a lot more expanded than that. Because most racists do know that it's bad to say the N word to people.
oh boy.
You
So
do understand that, right?
are we going to the systemic that racism is systemic in this country and how
It is. You're talking to someone who lives in Flint, Michigan, for fuck's sake.
boy, okay. I didn't want to go there, but I mean this idea that leftists have that like things are
It's
like
not just an
systemic and
idea,
they're
it's
like
actually proven.
gotta like rally against the system and it's like the system versus us and I don't get it, man. Like there is
I'm
no
trying to
such thing.
explain it to you.
Let me give you an
It's
example.
not that you don't get it, it's that you don't want to actually hear it. That's really the problem.
Do you think that we have a crisis of toxic masculinity in 2019?
I do believe we do.
Think that we live in the most
I think
equitable time.
I think considering the suicide rate among men is higher than women, um, and that
How,
men are less likely to seek
how is that?
mental health, mental therapy.
This is a
Um,
toxic masculinity problem or a crisis of meaning problem? I want to be clear here.
well, it is a
Do you
toxic
think that
masculinity problem because seeking help for things like that is viewed as weakness. I, for one, have been told, I'm a pussy because I admit that I have depression and that I've sought help for it.
okay,
I've
so
been told that a
men and
number
women
of
both
times.
get bullied.
That's
Yeah,
toxic
and so
masculinity.
no,
It's
it's
not.
not. That
I
is
think
someone
you
being
think
a
that
bully.
I think you think that toxic masculinity is saying that all masculinity is bad, which is not the case. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and cut that bridge off right there. So if you make
Well,
this just about
I
masculinity,
can't find a single piece of humor or comedy that comes out of the left. For example, did you watch the Dave Chappelle special?
I did not.
I loved it. It's amazing, and I wish for all my SJW friends
Can
to
is there any
spend
chance
an
that you
hour.
can stay on topic? Because we've jumped around like all sorts of places. You originally
Oh,
asked me
okay.
how Donald Trump is racist. Now it's over to the Dave Chappelle special.
I'm giving you examples because you took the conversation towards like racism and systemic racism, and we started to go
You
down
asked
that
me
path.
if Donald Trump is racist, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
I was providing examples. And I know
Okay.
you
And so
whether you try to weasel out of
my
them or
question.
not,
Okay.
that does
Okay. So
not prove your point at all. Because
we'll go back to the example.
you're just trying to obfuscate the point that these things add up. And yeah, he might just be racist because you can't defend that.
Did you know that there are Democratic senators, Congress people right now that have directly benefited from the slave trade?
Yes.
What do you think about their racism? Are you
Do
addressing
you
them
think
as
that I'm a Joe
well? This
Biden
person?
supporter?
No. I'm asking you what those people, and do you call them racist the same way that you want to label the president of the United States because of
If they
these
do racist things,
one,
yes.
two, or three?
For
Okay.
example, Joe Biden is heavily racist.
Okay.
I mean, he was asked a question about reparations, and he started talking about how black people don't know how to parent good.
Well, okay, so they're two different things. Like we can go down the direction of
Only because it doesn't help your point. It's two different
oh,
things, but okay.
you live in Flint, Michigan, and you
Hmm.
probably I'm in just so you just because you've shared, I'm in the Pacific Northwest. So
Okay.
I'm deep in SJW country, but I'm a centrist libertarian.
Oh
So
boy. Unironically saying
anyways,
SJW is not giving me a good opinion of you, but
well, I mean, okay, anyway, so where were we going with this?
I don't know. I don't know where we were going with this. I was trying to provide all the examples to prove
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Trump is racist.
Like the big question is, do you guys, with the same diligence and care, go through every person's skeletons in their closets and like basically judge them, um, as part of like a litany of bullet points as you like. It's like the left loves to keep lists together. Like it's just lists on people. Like, oh well, this person did this thing in like 1970, and he did this thing in 1991, and he made a grab her by the pussy statement. Which again, we're all guys, right? Like we've all said things about women, and again, it wasn't right. So and so
I've never said
my question
anything
is,
remotely like that. Mostly because I don't cheat on my wife. That's one thing.
okay, that's great. You're that's a great
It's
quality.
nice to be happily married
Sure, yeah, okay.
because then you
I
don't
mean,
treat
I
women like
say,
garbage.
oh, okay. So
I
I
mean,
don't know if you're attacking single people now, but
no, no, not at all. But my thing with him is he cheated on his wife, and that whole story, the grab her by the pussy thing,
again,
was about
he was
him trying to get with a woman who was also married while he was married,
right.
and
Are you judging the people in your lives with this level of scrutiny as you do with the president of the United States, or is it like is it only him because
well,
he
considering I
get
don't keep
he's
garbage people around me,
okay?
yeah,
Okay, so you live okay, so you're surrounded by just perfect people in your life
no,
and society,
no,
and everything is
no,
Gucci and like
no.
I don't know what you're saying now, but okay, so
And none of my
all
and True Lover brings up a good point. No one in my life is the president of the United States.
okay, and so they don't deserve your kind of detailed in 1990 he had one court like you don't shake down the scale. So all I'm pointing out to you in front of your audience is how ridiculous it is for you guys, and I use you as the collective left to spend your time combing through people's histories like this and canceling them, trying to invalidate them, trying to diminish them to only their identities as opposed to their ideas, right? And so, what I hear from the
You
right
don't
and
like it
why
that we call
right,
out people who are racist racist. I get it.
but like he has black people working for him. There are people
Oh
of color.
wow.
There are
Wow, he's got
women.
black
There are
people working for
minorities.
him as he discriminates against black people. Cool.
Let me ask you a question.
Like there
What do
wasn't
you think
black
is
slave
discriminating?
traders, like there wasn't black slaves that worked with the slave traders, like there wasn't black people who worked with the police to keep things segregated. Like
Let me.
for that
I
that
was in a
doesn't
leftist
mean
chat.
anything. If it's the certain type of black people who are going to be deemed the good ones, hell, again, I'm in an interracial relationship. That does
Sure.
not mean I'm not racist. I've met several people who are in interracial relationships who are in it for a fetish, or they even the black women will use it to demean black men, or the black men will
Okay,
use it to demean black women.
they're
Wouldn't you
dating
consider
outside of
that
the race.
racist?
I get it. Well,
Yeah, it doesn't mean
again,
anything. My black friend
I don't. But
doesn't
I
make me
don't.
not racist. My actions do.
Okay, so his action of hiring, paying, compensating, and making people rich for working for him, regardless of their gender or race, in his corporations, is that like a true racist would not hire black people and put them into management position. A true racist would not hire black or like
You don't
deport Mexican
understand
people, and
racism.
so it's
You don't
just
understand how
no. I'm
racism
just
works. If they agree to do the things that he likes, they will be hired. It does not matter if they agree with his politics. Like
They
Candace
are
Owens
there.
Candace Owens will say all sorts of bad stuff about black people, but she won't recognize that hey, she's kind of wrong about every goddamn thing. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
And
Yeah.
Ben Carson is the same exact way. Oh, black people are this. Black people are bad. Black people don't get married. Black people don't take care of their kids.
And
That's no
when we
different
share
than
more
Joe Biden
statistics,
talking about
do
hiring social workers to teach them how to parent their kids. It's still
do
racist.
you not
Just because it's
understand what the
coming from a
problem?
black man and who is hired by Donald Trump does not mean that it's not racist. It does not mean it does
Classist.
not push
It's a class argument.
systemic racism.
It's not a no. When he says there's poor parenting in the hood, it just happens to be that the hood, and I'm this is very loose. I'm not talking about any specific neighborhood
But you
but
know it's
you and
not true,
I
right?
both understand.
It's not
I
true.
see the rates of single black mothers and having
That
children out
tells
of
half the
wedlock,
story.
in the size of children, or sorry, the size of families not working in or having enough income to support. Again, it's a
Well, that sounds
complicated.
like more of a problem with poverty, wage
Yes.
inequality, and
And so exactly, and these are class arguments. These are folks who,
access to birth control.
but
So,
it's a
but
class argument. It's people from one side of the tracks who make a certain type of money, and another people who don't. And so like it just happens to be that
but
there are more
you
black
are
people
reducing it to
and
race.
people of color. No, no, no. All I'm saying is, why do people like mishear the comments about like inner city stuff, and like they don't wake up to the fact that like inner cities are bad places to be, and the goal is not to live there. The goal is to get out and leave. And so that environment,
You
right?
do understand how those inner cities become bad, right?
Well, I know it from a different side. Tech goes to Silicon Valley, finance goes to New York, media, acting goes to Hollywood. So like
And there's
what
more
ends up
industries
happening
than
is that
that.
at the one part of society,
There's
certain
more
like
industries
streamers
than
go to
that. You
Texas. You know what I mean? No, 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 no. But what I'm saying is like areas end up being hubs and concentration of people all pursuing or chasing a certain type of idea. And I think that happens on the flip side of class as well, where you end up with support networks that are tied into the drug trade, and all of a sudden people are living off food stamps, and instead of working they use food stamps as
you're
a way to
making a
buy
lot
food.
of reaches and a lot of jumps here.
But what I just presented to you is both sides of the class argument. And so your
Not
question was,
really.
do I know how the hood
You
developed?
provided your side where you jumped from unwed mothers to size of the family to the drug trade and poverty. Like you said a lot of things there, but there's one thing that you did not say: funding for schooling and infrastructure, which is routinely cut by conservatives. And where it's usually hit the most? Inner cities, black communities. I can tell you this firsthand.
Okay, so in your ideal world, where how do we spend a finite budget for education, and how do we distribute it fairly across a state?
It's not finite, for one thing.
So,
There are people making
okay.
money. There's a tax base.
Boy, okay, okay. So we
We
want to
could fund
start
the
taxing
schools
people.
less on property taxes, on
Okay.
property values, rather than and actually tax it appropriately so that they're evenly funded rather than inappropriately funded. Because if you have a school that's in a bad neighborhood and the property values are low, chances are the school's not going to be properly funded.
Why do you think the property values are low in the bad parts of Flint or Detroit, or
Mm-hmm.
why do you think that? Do you think that like a dollar condo in the Pacific Northwest is worth 2 million bucks back in and call it Podunk, Iowa? Okay, I'm not here to like pick on any city or anything, but why do you think that exists?
Well, I mean, the concentration of wealth is much different. I mean,
Okay,
those
so
condos don't
people,
just exist on their own; they exist because someone wanted them built. I
right,
mean,
and there's
there are expensive
city
places that are out
infrastructure.
here too, but people don't talk about them. Our lofts downtown are actually very nice, and you got to pay something like 2 grand a month for them.
Right. So all I'm saying is like there's a reason why there are poor neighborhoods and rich neighborhoods, because if money was no object, people would not want to live in those bad neighborhoods. And so
Of
when you look
course,
at how do you allocate a
but
budget,
you could
a
also
finite,
raise up those neighborhoods.
what ends up happening is people with wealth end up concentrating in coastal cities, right? Like this is the coastal elites, right? That are half of them are virtue signaling for the left, and the other half are just closet conservatives,
Please,
right?
please stop saying that. because that's just going to send me in another direction. Because again, I told you not to
But
say
it is
buzzwords. Because it's
it
it's
is
it's
true
it's
though.
not true. It's just nonsense. Okay, it's nonsense that you heard from a Sargon of Akkad video. That does not make
No,
it
no,
true.
it's people in my social circle. So this is specifically
Wow, your social circle sounds like it's so like expansive on their thought process. It's not. I can tell you, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Get a better
all,
social
all,
circle.
all I'm saying is there's a lot of people in coastal cities that are closet conservatives, but they have to virtue signal publicly as libs or SJWs, right? I don't think this is a controversial view. Like this is a big issue inside the technology industry where
It's
I've spent my
the
career.
the
But
only thing controversial about it is how anti-intellectual it is. Like you're
people, no,
just
no,
you,
no,
you
no.
know
This is
you know how you talked about how the left
tribalism.
likes to just
This
throw
is
labels on everything.
state
SJW, they
tribalism.
throw SJW nonsense, regressive left. That's what you've been doing this entire time. It's buzzwords.
I mean,
They virtue signal the whole time.
I'm giving you like
You're giving me
every time
nonsense. You're giving
I'm
me a
trying to
view
like
based. You're not giving me anything concrete. You're just giving me buzzwords. That's all you're doing.
I mean, I think, I mean, I'm using some of these words as shortcuts because I assume, like, in a political stream, Dan, like, some of these short, like, when I say SJW, I think you know what I mean, right?
I mean, to an
I'm not calling
extent.
you an SJW.
I know
I don't
what
think
the
you're an
idea is
SJW.
supposed to.
Even if you're on the left, I'm not saying you, sir, are a SJW. I'm not saying that. I am saying is, for example, like the squad, AOC, like you know what I mean? Like, have you been to their Twitters? Have you seen the kind of nonsense?
Yes, I have, and usually I agree with
Oh boy.
most of them.
Okay. All right. So maybe, okay. But here's the thing. It's like why not wear that label proudly? Like,
Well, because
if you're
SJW
telling
is
me you
not a
are a social
thing,
justice warrior,
and
okay.
SJW is not a thing.
Yeah.
There are
So
not actual SJWs by the definition that people like yourself give. You
so
know,
there's
the
no one.
screeching blue-haired feminist is not a thing. To the
You
extent
ever
that
seen them on
they
Twitter?
actually exist, it's a
Come
small,
on.
small amount. There's no one talking about hating and killing men. There's no one talking about, only.
Have you seen some of these political Twitter accounts on the left? You've seen them.
Yeah, I
You've seen
follow
them.
most of them.
Yeah, okay. So you know what I mean, dude. You know what I mean.
Oh, I know what you mean. I do know what you mean. It means whenever you see something you don't like, they're automatically SJWs and you don't like
Oh,
it.
no, 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 no. I've listen. I come on here and I talk to all types of political folks. I talk to trans streamers,
Do you
even
actually
though
listen to them though? Because we
I've
wouldn't be having
I've
any of this conversation right now if you actually listened to what they were saying.
I've got like 8 or 9 tabs open right now. And after this conversation, whenever you're ready for your big, Central Committee debut, or I don't know if you've been on the show before. I've never seen you on there before, but I don't
I
know.
was on there briefly once. I'm
Were you
friends
okay?
with Kentucky Fried Conrad.
Okay,
Known
okay.
him for a while.
To be honest, I might be banned on their channel, but I don't know. There's a few of the bigger leftists
With
from.
the way you type, I would understand it because in
Really?
their
I
channel,
mean,
I think you would be spamming.
I mean, it is what it is. I personally don't care. I churn and burn my usernames every 3 months. Uh, um, yeah. All I'm saying is like concern for the future of our country.
Well, okay. You know what I'm concerned about for the future of our country?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, that's fine.
I think it would be much better for our country if we just allowed people to be who they are without worrying about, any of this nonsense where we try to talk about things like, oh, I don't know, it's okay basically that I made a mistake and called a trans woman he, um, because they don't pass. Things like that. It should just be, hey, I owe this person some respect and not to insult them. I think that would be pretty cool if we were like that. And then we can get to substantive policy arguments. We can actually do it at the same time. But, when we try to bring people on the right over, all they're hung up on is, that's not a woman. Or, black
No,
person
I never said that.
IQ nonsense. Or, like,
Have
Muslim
you looked
person
at?
bad, they're anti-Semitic because they criticize Israel or some bullshit like that.
I've been fairly decent. I mean, I disagree with your
You
sort of
said a
view.
lot of
I've been,
buzzwords.
but here's the thing. I respect you as a person. I've been on a lot of different. I've talked to I don't know if you know Lexi. She's also a trans
Cyberwitch
streamer.
Lexi,
I
yeah.
was yeah. I was on her stream for like 2.5. They really didn't like me there, but anyways, but we had a great 2.5 hour discussion on a whole bunch of stuff. But look, I think it's like the left just gets hung up on, and what I like is when I meet left SJW and any type of sort of streamer who thinks differently than me, I like the ones that are able to move past this kind of gender political identity politics nonsense and just get to the ideas like
But you do
and
recognize that trans discrimination is a thing, right?
oh, so I want to be super clear here. What I was giving you, I wasn't in. I was in her chat for 20 minutes. I called her a she throughout the whole chat, and one time, as we were both getting heated about a topic,
Mm-hmm.
I said something like he or him, and like literally the place just went. It's like, oh my God, guys, like why don't you
Mm-hmm.
judge me for like the last 20 minutes where I came in very respectfully and I called her as
Well,
I did with Lexi, like
well,
you know, and I had one slip
you're
up.
not
But
being charitable
like a
here
lot.
either because you're admitting that it was heated and that you had that moment where you called her a he,
Right,
and you don't see how
because
if that's
people have gone
heated
past. So
already
sometimes
and you said that that can be insulting. Again, I've
yes,
already
but
covered you on
what,
this. Like
what I'm saying is like this is not a gotcha.
you may not
Like
like
that.
it, but when things are heated
Let's
and
pull up
when you
the chat
insult
log and
somebody,
let's go through like 2,000 lines of text and the one line where he said he referred to her as a it's like, and I already explained the kind of reasoning. It's like in the heat of a moment, sometimes even if you're talking to a trans woman and you
did
can
you
respect her
apologize?
identity, of course, I followed it up. Her mods to untie me out because the discussion was so like it wasn't like I wasn't there to like spend 20 minutes talking politics and then drop an N bomb or like call her I hate like that's not. I mean, you've talked to me for a little while now. This is not my goal. So, anyways, all I'm saying is like, this is where it's like this kind of leftist agenda that's brewing on Twitch, and it's
You're saying
everyone from
buzzwords
Hassan.
again. You're saying buzzwords.
What I'm explaining to you, like everyone
Leftist
from Hassan.
agenda. It's the leftist. Oh, we're all coming for you, man. We're all coming for you, aren't we? No, we're not. We're
Do you
trying to
know what that
exist.
term means? Like, do you like when I say it, you sound like I'm calling you a second-rate citizen. I mean, even though a lot of the
No, it sounds like a cult, that the way you put
yes,
it.
yes, that is what you guys
But
essentially.
we're not. Have
It,
you
it, it, what you are nailing it.
have you actually witnessed people on the right and how they team up on every little thing?
Okay, so let me here's a
I'm
perfect
gonna
example.
recommend a video to you, okay?
I,
There's
I'm
this
gonna
really great
I'll add it.
video by Innuendo Studios, okay? It's called "The Card Says Moops," where it
I'm gonna
talks
check it
about
out.
how tribal the right wing is. You have person A and person B on the right. They might disagree on certain things, but when they're speaking to a leftist person, all of a sudden, person A will sometimes venture into person B's arguments, and likewise. So they will team up no matter what, whether they actually agree on the thing or not, or appear to be different or not. Now, the left, on the other hand, does not do that. If we
The
feel
left
insulted, of
generally
course,
divides. Yeah.
then, people are going to say something. But that also happens on the right. and the right it tends to be a lot
I
worse.
don't
For
see it.
example, my buddy trueleveller said something as a joke about how AR and AR-15 stands for assault rifle. He got 20 different messages, correcting him and calling him an asshole and all sorts of other things.
So there's gonna be trolls on both sides on the internet, right? I mean, you guys, I mean, you do this for a living, like you stream, right? I'm just a viewer, so.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just the left basically
The
good
left
at
again.
is they just divide. They just divide people, you know. Like you are X, Y, Z, and like, but here's the thing: if you take the
Oh.
natural extension of what the left is doing, it's like we are all at the end of the day individuals. Like
Let me
we don't need
let me ask you a simple
secular
question.
tribal.
What do you think divides people more? Saying, "Hey, we should treat everybody as equal and not care about,
We already
what's in
have
their pants
equality.
or anything like that." No, we do not have that. Or going out and saying, most Mexicans are rapists and murderers.
No, no one is saying
Saying
that. No
saying
one is
that
saying.
all black people are poor and
No one
only
is
don't
saying.
support you because you're stupid, because they're stupid.
No,
Talking about
no,
shithole
no.
countries in Africa. Um, the
So
list goes on and on and on. What's more divisive, honestly?
think what's more so what you just tried to explain like
I
the
was
president of the
quoting
US
Trump.
didn't say any of that. No, okay, so can I came
What,
from a shithole country. I am a child of a refugee family from a shithole country.
what country?
I don't, again, I don't stream, man. I prefer to stay sort of private, but
Mm-hmm.
all I'm saying is I can understand and respect what that term means. It means that
Well,
it,
that
it,
doesn't
it
work for
I'm not
everybody, though, does it?
I'm not going to go there. But here's the thing. It's like Trump
You're
is not saying
okay.
all
You're
black
trying to
people are
weasel out of this because you
no,
can't defend it. That's the problem here, man. It's more divisive. You know it's more divisive to
no,
pit
it's
people
not.
against each other based on race, to call people from a certain country rapists and
Here,
murderers, to
but
say
he's
that
saying
people are
nothing.
from a shithole country. You may not be wrong with, I mean, you may not have an issue with it, but some people do. In fact, a lot of people do. So
I don't know. I
that
don't know.
is way more
I think
divisive
I
than
think you guys
anything the
just
left can do, because
hearing
the left is trying to bring everybody together. And at the same
the
time, we
left
have a tendency of
divides
fighting each
on
other over
class,
ideas.
the left divides on race, the left divides on income, the left divides on ideas, the left divides on a whole bunch of different dimensions, and you hear it in the way they talk. And the example I give is just watch one of these rallies. As
Mm-hmm.
a single, you know, a privileged background, I need to check my privilege before I make it's like
Yeah.
you have to load up your opinion with like 25 different adjectives on who you are as a person before you can just say what you think. Oh,
Largely, that's
sorry,
a meme.
you're a straight white male, and so your view on race has no weight here. It's like, what? Hang on, why is that the case? Why are we raising other voices and lowering others? It's not enough for the left to have equality. What they want to do
But
is
that
they want to
equality
fix
doesn't exist. You do
the past.
recognize that, right?
It's like you guys want to give other groups a major boost just because you want to fix the last 10 years of this, the last 15. And it's like you just hear it in the nonsense, you hear it in the ideas, the this gender wage gap as if like, it's just
Which
it's all over the
exists,
place.
which
So
is real, right? You do recognize
I,
that.
I
That
mean,
these things that we talk about are
it's
real.
one of the
You do recognize
craziest.
that, right?
The actual gender wage gap, it's a myth, but the
It's not.
fact that
It's
that like
not.
the left will lead with
Oh
something like
God, we
this.
can't even. We can't even. This is where you're gonna continue to get lost, my man. This is where you're gonna
I
continue
mean,
to get lost. Is because we can't even agree on bare facts.
I've looked into it. It's
I've
not
looked into it
anything
too.
like what these left, and like it's like I'll see them like debated on streams, and it's like these guys have not
Okay,
ran for
let me put
position.
it this way:
These people have never hired
the
people.
excuses that the right has for the gender gender wage gap not existing is they can get pregnant. and they can't do certain jobs.
No, women choose differently than men choose career-wise, right? And so it's why we might see that in the nursing profession,
Not
the
always.
gender balance, but again, but
Not
the left does not
always.
care that the majority of firefighters are men. They don't care that the majority of preschool teachers are women. It's not
Firefighters
about
are
that. It's
grossly
just
underpaid, though, too. So I don't
that
see how talking about underpaid workers would create a wage gap.
why isn't the left upset that we don't have equal representation inside of let's say preschool teachers or nurses um, or hotel workers or like any of these service industries that are dominated by women and they're not just service industries. Some of these are full-on careers, right? Like teaching, for example. Why is it
Well,
never
teachers
an
are
issue?
grossly underpaid, and again,
Really an issue?
even with
No, no,
that
no, no,
going
no. Hang
on,
on, hang on,
there's a
hang on.
wage gap.
I'm not talking about men, male and female teachers are underpaid. I agree with you there, and I agree with you that we should probably increase the pay for teaching in general. I think it's one of the most noble professions that the West doesn't respect. That's a different argument. What I'm saying is teaching, especially grades K through 5, is dominated by women. Like it's 80-90%, and so it's the flip of STEM. People get upset at STEM and say, well, STEM is majority male. So why are we
It's
not
not just
upset
that, is
that?
it, though? You're stopping
Why are
short
we
of
not
what the
upset?
actual argument is.
The day I see these same people get upset that like the majority of firefighters or folks in the service are men, the day I hear that with such vigor and veracity, the real reason why they bring this up as an issue is in high status, high paying jobs. If you can't compete on merit, you need other factors. So you need these independent boosts to get in and get yours, right? Like get
And
a
then
programmer
that's what
job.
you believe is happening.
This is what I've seen inside the technology industry. Again,
Oh,
I'm only speaking
you've
from one
seen.
part of STEM. So
Hmm. And you totally don't think that there's actually systemic
oh,
oppression in the way that they
here's
actually dole out the jobs in the first place, so that even if a
have
woman
you
can
have you have you
hang on, hang
hired
on, hang on, hang on, hang on, so that even if a woman does get into that field, they have to pass more barriers than if they were a man. You do
gotcha.
recognize that that's a thing, right? Because you're
Just
answering only
not
half of the
a
question.
So I've given this example on one podcast before, but I think you're going to wake up to this one. I hear this term, saying, oh, women get mansplained at work a lot, and
Yeah,
there's
they
this
do.
idea that like there's this toxic alpha male boss who is like sitting there like sniping these like
No,
junior
that's
women's like
the
no no no
most
no
extreme example,
this
and
is how
that's not what it
this is
is.
exactly
That's not what it
how
is.
it's
You don't even
marketed.
understand these concepts, and you're trying to explain them to me. You
But
don't even
I've
understand it
been at
yourself. Come the fuck
okay
on, man. Okay, okay.
no,
Let me do this. Let me do this.
and
Okay,
and let me just
I
end
can
on
give you an example because you talked about nursing. Well, I got news for you. My wife is a
okay.
nurse. I have a future in nursing. I worked as a CNA for 6 years. Knee injury caused me to no longer be able to do that job. But I know that career. I know how these things work. I know that job, that industry, and so does she.
Okay. And so
So
so would
the
would
number
would
of
we
times,
agree on the core
hold
facts?
up. I'm giving you an example. I'm not
I want
done
to
yet. I'm
find
not
like a
done yet. I'm
scenario
not done yet.
where we
I'm
can
not done
agree.
yet. You gotta stop. You gotta stop. I know you want to get scallop, but no. So there have been a number of times where it has been assumed to me that I was a nurse, a doctor, never a CNA. There's been a number of times that my wife
Okay.
has had to correct people to the point where she's had to take them to her manager, to her DON,
Sure.
to explain, yes, this person is a nurse. You have to report to them because they think she's a CNA because she's young. Well, she was younger at the time. She's a woman and she's black. She's had EMSs tell her, no, you're not a nurse. Will you show me where the nurse is? multiple times.
Okay. And so do you think that there have been junior men in her shoes because of the way they looked? Well, all I'm
No, men
saying
are
is
given the benefit
these
of the doubt
examples. No, no, no.
because
These
she's
okay.
she's worked with men
You have
too,
a
and they
beard.
never have to
Okay.
deal with that.
I'm not.
When she
No, no, no.
explains that to them, they're so confused about it because they don't understand it.
Okay, dude, you've got a beard, right? So like clearly if someone were to meet you, you do not confer a young junior um uh employee. Like again, you're using your profession. I don't know nursing too well, but if I were to run into you, yes, I would think that you were, if you said you worked in health, I would think you were a doctor. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that
Why?
is?
Well, you might have a beard, you come off, authoritative,
I've had a
you
beard for a
might have
long
some
time.
authority. No, no, no. But what I'm saying is these shortcuts happen to all types of people. And it's not just like young black women that face this stuff. It's like there is a junior white male who has faced like a mansplaining boss who tries to snipe ideas. Like that doesn't just happen to women. But somehow the left has latched onto the idea that like if it happens to a woman, it's now a Me Too, like, it's like let's crucify this man and ruin his future reputation when they don't understand that, like, for example, in companies, positions are competitive, and so male and female senior folks steal ideas from junior, and it's just a rite of passage that people have to go through. Yet, like, I'll go to like an HR like training seminar at the last tech company I worked at, and it's now like it's this whole like race, gender, political issue. And it's like, hey, hang on. When I was coming up in the software industry,
Oh no,
and
things
I
changed.
was
Wow. They're
I,
trying
I
to
was a young
correct
programmer.
systemic issues. Wow, that's so terrible, man. I'm sorry
No,
you
no,
have to deal
no.
with that.
All I'm saying is like it's not a systemic issue. It's just a issue of
It's
what
not a
what
systemic issue because you don't recognize it. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
happened to me, and it's happening to junior people, and it's not because they
Oh
are
no,
young
that's so
black women.
bad. That's so bad. I'm
It's
so
happening
I'm
because it
so
happens to
sorry
everyone.
that you're losing something when you're actually not. What you're explaining to me is a concept that Sand Cedar likes to bring up a lot called the the oh shit, what is it? The zero sum game. You feel like you're losing something
I'm not
because
losing
people
anything. No, no.
are trying to
I
be
feel
treated
like,
as equal. They're trying to be, brought up rather than have
no, no,
these
no,
barriers
no. What I'm
continue to
saying is
exist. And
we need
because of
to
that, you
address
feel
the
like you're
issue.
losing out, but you're actually not losing a goddamn thing. Just people are being brought up and held to the same standards that you are rather than making them have to work even harder than you.
If we were
And
not,
granted,
if I agree
even with
with you,
that
we should
training,
lower the bar.
even with that, we're still not there yet because these systemic issues are systemic. They're hard to change because the system that is in place continues to reaffirm them. That's a
Or
way different statement.
there are issues of just power dynamics and power structures that
Uh
exist
huh.
throughout all societies, right?
Yeah.
It exists in the nursing profession, it
Uh
exists in
huh.
law, it exists in finance, it exists in tech. And so
Yeah.
these aren't like a bunch of like bad people like keeping women out of
No one
STEM.
said
It's
that.
it's the
No one
fact that
said
like
that.
we will not lower the bar just because someone
No
has a
one
different
said
race
that
or gender.
either. No one said
Exactly
that
what's
either.
happening in some of these affirmative action
No, it's not.
to
That's
some
just how
some
you feel.
let me
This
end
is
on
a
this.
feels
Why?
over reals
Okay, so
argument.
this is
You
gonna be, and
feel
again,
that this is going on, but it is
you don't like me
not.
jumping, all over the place, but this is what triggered me to log on to Twitch today and have a political discussion.
Hmm.
How is it that the face of climate change in 2019 is a 13-year-old child who refuses to
16.
go to school in Sweden or wherever she's from?
She's 16.
How is it that the face of climate change that the left is holding on to is this 16-year-old who refuses to go to school and who wants to sit in front of a parliament all day and complain? And why is it not the scientist? Why is the face not like the real scientist that you guys keep saying, oh, we have all the science data and it's conclusive and everyone agrees? It's like, why is the face the 16-year-old and why is it not a real scientist? This is what's driving me nuts about this Greta thing, dude. Like,
Okay, okay, yeah,
I
I
can't,
can
I
totally
don't
answer that
understand,
for you, bud.
So
I can
what's
totally
going on?
answer that for you without you continuing. Because no one listened to the scientists. The
But
scientists have been
in
talking about this
real,
for 40 fucking years and no one
there's a,
did shit about it. Now we
in
have
real
this
science,
little girl who's, this 16-year-old girl who is like, hey, this is my generation. This is my future. And we need to do something. And people are rallying behind her because
do you know
she's a
what
part of a
happens with
movement.
real science? Do you know what happens in real science? People don't say, no one listened to my ideas, so I had to get a child to present them. People
That
in
that
I
scientists
believe
aren't
in
getting
real
them.
science
Like, okay,
and
okay,
real
okay. You're
medicine
getting
do not
conspiratorial
do
now
this.
because you're making it sound like we forced her into this position. She chose to start
Every
this.
single
She
Twitter
chose
account
to
is
act.
full of
She chose to do
this
this
kid's
because she's going to be more affected than, say, me, who is going to be old man dying out by the time things get really bad if
what
we
I'm
don't
trying
do
to
shit about
understand
it.
and what I'm trying to prove and
You're
expose
trying to make it sound
is
like people are just
science
choosing
and okay,
to
so take
to
medicine.
boost
Take
this little
take
girl
medicine.
up, and
Real
that she's not going to school, so that's why we shouldn't listen to her. You're trying to discredit her, is what you're trying to do.
has no merit as a science or fact-based person. She is just a
But she's
active
right on the signs.
an activist. No, no. But what happens in medicine, for example, is if you figure some sort of treatment out, you don't go get a kid suffering from it and say, okay, they're the spokesperson. The actual doctor or the group of surgeons or the group of medical professionals who figure this out are the ones who share this information. This is why the left is a complete joke. This is why you guys are not winning in
But oh
2020.
my god.
And
You
and I
really
just
had to turn it there. That's the heel turn that you decided to make, to say the left is a complete
something about
joke.
nurture,
Okay,
like
oh,
you said.
hold up. The left is a complete joke because a 16-year-old girl decided to
It's a
take it
waste
upon
of
herself to do anything and become an activist at her
of going to
own
school. Right.
self-sacrifice, to do this
In
because
school.
we didn't listen to scientists for 40 fucking years about a problem that is going to lead to the mass
No, no.
extinction of
You
everyone on
actually
this
know why.
planet.
Do you know?
That
Because
is
the
that is your
jury is
thing.
still out. The
That
jury is
is your
still
heel
out
turn.
on all
No,
that
no, no.
stuff.
You're not answering me. You're not
The jury
answering
is
me.
still out.
You believe what? That we picked her
I
out
believe that the
as this
jury is
thing to
still out.
do?
That's why actual science couldn't break through, and that's why these
Actual science
leftist
couldn't break
people
through because the mobile was sitting on for 30 years a study that proved that they knew climate change was happening, and they had to be prosecuted because they were hiding it from their shareholders. Things like
companies
that are why no one listened to the scientists, because propaganda from rich, powerful corporations, outmatched it. When the truth was in their hands the entire time, we could have done something about it if mobile would have actually turned that over years ago and recognized that this was a problem, but they did not.
can I ask a question?
Okay.
If this Greta woman convinced, let's say she convinced her entire country and our country, so both the U.S. and Sweden, right?
Mm-hmm.
She has full buy-in to, I don't know what her, I don't even know what she probably doesn't have like a proposal or action plan or like she's just an activist, right?
Have you ever listened to her? I'm gonna
You
guess
know what?
no.
I watch it. I watch no. I watch her on Twitter. There are a bunch of these, and she's a nice, well-spoken kid, but she is a kid who should be going to school first and foremost, not skipping classes and being an activist. That's
Okay.
that
Okay.
that's like one core message that I think is
Oh my
so
god.
disturbing about the kind of left is like they actually think that like this is a good way for children to like spend their lives, and like
People are paying.
this is why I worry about the future.
I'm gonna tell you something because I've just been kind of ignoring the whole she's skipping school thing. Okay, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret about like these. You know how there's like child actors and like musicians who get really big young. You know that, right? Right?
And so are you suggesting
I'm
she's
asking you. I'm asking you. Do you know that child actors and child musicians get big? Do you think that they are skipping school. Or and I'm gonna put this out to you. Do you think that they're keeping to their studies while they travel?
What you're asking me is you're asking me what does an entire industry of performers and entertainers in Hollywood, how children in that
I'm
world
telling
spend
you
their
that
time?
homeschooling exists. I'm telling you that schooling can exist outside of a classroom.
She is telling folks to leave, like the actual message she is presenting is, hey, go stop whatever you're doing on like on the special climate action days. I think it's like every Friday, and like go sit and protest. And it's like, how about a
Oh
better message
God, no, not a
is learn
protest.
how to code and like be productive in society instead of be an SJW activist on Fridays. Like that's not a message that I
Jesus
would
Christ.
want.
You can't even go 10 minutes without going back to SJWs and the left. Like seriously,
To,
fucking
she,
dude,
but
do you ever
do you
hear do you hear
understand?
yourself talk? Do you hear yourself talk? Do you think that you sound intelligent right now? I got to ask. Do you think
I
that you're making your point cogently?
Yes, I'm giving you the examples of and what I said is I started off as a question. How is this woman the face of climate change? And a non-scientist, non-notable person in this
I
field
explained it to you already,
that the
but you
left
don't like
claims has
it.
been like massively
I
studied,
explained
how
it to
is the
you
face?
already. I
No,
explained it to you.
how about I give you a alternate explanation?
George Soros is paying her?
Well, the jury is still out on climate change.
It's not,
This is
though.
the alternate
It's
explanation.
not. It's not. I refuse to even let you speak any more of that because that is 100% a lie. The reason that a little girl has become the face of climate change now in the year 2019 is because we have been sitting on the science for fucking decades and we did jack shit about it. It has nothing to do with,
Real scientists
oh,
won't
she's
say that.
skipping school. Oh, why isn't it a scientist who's blah blah. The scientists have tried to say this for fucking decades and we haven't listened to them. They have been shouted down and told, "Well, that's bad for our economy." Oh
Why?
no,
Because
our
just
fucking monies are going to be hurt. Never mind the fact that we're heading
here's
towards a food and water war. There's actual fucking lakes that and water sources that have disappeared in countries because they've dried up because the world is too fucking hot on average. Proven.
spin
And
it to that no
the
country
Arctic is
can
on
solve.
fire. Greenland's ice caps have been melting at a record rate. Like
It's a
seriously,
global issue that no one country can solve. So as soon as you get one
yeah,
country to spend a bunch of money and say, "Hey, we're
like
going to enact
China.
all these policies," well, I don't think
China's
China's
ahead of
doing
us on it.
anything, dude. Like
You don't
if
know.
you look
You
at
don't know.
if
You didn't
you
know
look at
that.
the
You didn't. You
economy,
were gonna go. You were gonna go with China is
hang
not.
on, hang
But
on.
no, they have
I
surpassed
thought for
us
a second for a second
in advancing
what you
technologies
actually
and
meant
renewable
by
energies. You do not know that.
at us as overall net larger contributors to global CO2 emissions than any other country in the world. India's up there as number
And
two. The US is like number four or five. And so what I'm saying
okay.
is if you clean up the US and you get
Mm-hmm.
rid of 2% of global CO2 emissions or whatever
Mm-hmm.
the sort of metric is, if you don't get buy-in from the rest of the countries, all you do is you end up taxing and increasing the cost to consumers, you and I, of
I,
of
I,
uh,
I got to
of
answer a
domestic
question in chat real
emissions.
quick.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. It's because we cut away the subsidies. Trump cut away the subsidies to help develop this technology. Meanwhile, we still have oil subsidies that exist in this country. I don't know why, but no, it's not because they steal our technology. It's because we stopped developing it. We stopped funding it. Trump said he was going to do that. He did. He cut the funding to it. That's why we're behind.
So how would we solve this climate change issue? How would the US, who has no enforcement, no jurisdiction, and no ability to set any policy outside of its own borders and walls, like given if I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, I'm going to believe all the alarmist propaganda that that this is our next big crisis, right? And we've got to fix it, and or else this country's dead in like 50 or whatever. The world is dead in 50 years. Let's say someone grants you all that, even though the jury is fully still out and none of this is actually proven beyond a few things here and there, but it's not a dire crisis. But let's assume I believe that. How would a Democratic U.S. president issue? How do you force in we use the term shit tier countries. How would you force the government of Kazakhstan, let's say, to make sure that all the factories that they're building and they're modernizing for the future of their country, because left behind, right? They want all the things we want. How is the U.S. public policy going to make sure that factories in Kazakhstan are they can't. This is
Do you
why
know where
communism
70% of the pollution comes from in the world?
China, India, and developing
No.
countries. Yeah.
Three large corporations,
Oh boy.
most of which are American.
Oh boy. Wait, we
Oh
gotta.
boy.
I'm gonna need to fact check you on this one, dude.
Okay, go right ahead. I'll wait.
So help me understand. So you're telling me that of global emissions, of global CO, so first
Three
of all,
companies,
what metric
70%.
of global CO2 emissions are coming from three corporations?
Yep.
All right. And so, can you give me a link or something?
You
Because
can look it up.
that,
You're not going
that,
to give me homework here. You know, but to answer your long-winded question, I can simply answer it
so you
by
don't have the
pointing at.
facts, but oh yeah, okay, but you want to answer? Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can answer your original question that you talked for 20 minutes to set up. Um, Literally, do you believe that the U.S. has influence in the world?
Of course, yeah. We are the number
So
one
then, if we
country.
did a thing, if we chose to make this dramatic change, do you think that people would just go, "Oh, they're fucking crazy"? Well, I'm not doing that.
Consumers will stop buying Ford, GM cars, and anything else that is still made in this country if we do something that drastic, and they'll just buy foreign imports. They'll stop buying
What are you basing that on?
domestic made products
What are you basing that on?
on the fact that consumers look at prices, and when you say, hey, this foreign import sedan costs 15K,
You don't know anything
and
about
this
the
will
Green New Deal,
cost
do you? You don't know
Green
anything
New
about it
Deal is
because you're talking about car costs right now.
it's because you asked me how do you know that people make rational decisions when it comes to purchasing vehicles. The one that comes in at 15 grand to someone making 40, 50 grand a year costs them less money than the car that is 15 plus 5K, save the world tax or whatever sort of net cost that has to be paid out by consumers. Because corporations are not going to be the ones that voluntarily say, yeah, we'll just eat it in our margin. It just gets passed on to the consumer. This is like kind of capitalism 101 that like so many folks, and
I'm
I'm
gonna post something for you because one of
call
my
you an SJW, but so many folks on the left kind of they don't have a working knowledge of
I'm
modern
just gonna send
society.
it to you
And
while you're
I don't
vamping.
know, man, I'm just
There you go.
so let me understand, why do you
There you
guys
go. I
believe
just sent you a thing.
all cops are bad? What is this? Like, how do
Wow, we're making that jump.
how do you guys propose we take care of public safety and security if the default position from these these progressives who accept everyone as you are, accept all cops are like, help me understand that one. So, I mean, this is something Central Committee. I mean, I assume that they're all over this one. So you gotta know why you guys support all cops are bad.
Well, because it's a systemic issue in policing in this country. They're over militarized. They're trained to deal with everything in a continually more escalating way, and that has led to us killing a lot of people,
have
and
you
also our
watched
criminal
any
justice.
body
Hang
cam?
on, I'm still talking.
Yeah.
We have had criminal justice reform in '94 that led to us becoming the highest incarcerated country in the world.
Have you ever watched body cam footage, but both the cop is wrong and where the perp is wrong? Have you watched both? Like when a guy gets shot because he reaches for a gun, and have you ever examined like, hey, if I was in this cop's shoes, if I had his job in this moment and I had the gun pulled, what would I do? Like have you watched both sides? And so this is like I ask this question to leftists all the time. It's like just like imagine if your job was policing. Like it's a public service, so someone has to do it. We want safety and security in our neighborhood. So police force, right? Like I need to be able to pick up the phone and report a crime that is being committed against me or my neighbor or anyone, right? So like some policing, right? Like so you can't say all cops are bad. Like that's just it's such a weird like position for these like
Are you, are
progressives
you, are
that
you
like
going to get to your point?
my point is
'Cause I'm
how do you
really losing my
propose
patience with the way you talk. I'm going to be honest.
how do you propose to do a public service like policing if the default position is all cops are bad? What is like I want if you're
Make them
AOC
good.
and how would you make all cops how would you get to a point where you guys stop discriminating and hating against law enforcement?
Hating and discriminating against. Oh my god,
All
that's a
all
loaded
cops are
question. You
bad.
do
All
recognize
cops are
that.
bad. And like no one actually from the left will say, hey, hang on, this is actually an extreme alt left idea. And like this
The
is
alt
not
left
something.
is not a thing, but
Okay, all right. So Antifa is
again,
not a thing.
buzz. Get to your point.
That's my question. How do you guys propose to do public policing? You said
I've
make it good. How do you make it good?
Well, there's a lot of things that we can do. In the training, for one thing. The first thing that I would do is I would repeal the '94 crime bill because mandatory minimum sentences is really bad. The second thing I would do is I would eliminate the bridge between police and prosecution. The fact that they work together means that the prosecution cannot be impartial in any way, shape, or form. They work together. They will not prosecute. They will not prosecute police. Thirdly,
Wait, that's
we
that's
need
not true. I hear stories of bad cops that get cooked all the time for like for prison.
they get a very unfair advantage over any other.
I've I
You
see.
haven't looked it
No,
up
no.
clearly.
The reason is the stories aren't sensational enough to actually get coverage, and they can't spread on Twitter. When a bad cop is busted and
Are you going to talk numbers? Are
is
you going to
sent
actually
for,
prove your point, or are you just going to keep vamping
I,
about how what I said isn't
I
true
mean,
without actually looking it up?
so are you telling me that um,
Yes,
bad cops don't like there are no sentences against bad cops?
I know. I'm not going to say no. There's no sentences against them, but it's less likely to happen than the general public, especially if you're
And
poor
so
and
uh,
especially if you're black.
these cops are just busy just driving around inner cities looking for young black guys to like pull over and have problems with as opposed to serve their communities. Like this is you're telling me like this guy's job for like the same way you spend 50, 60 hours a week, there's someone who's like this is all cops, most cops, some cops, or the same one or two bad apples, like the same way Harvey Epstein or what's his name, Harvey
Yeah,
Weinstein.
I'll interrupt you here because you used an interesting phrase. What is the full context of a few bad apples? What is that entire
Well,
phrase?
it's the same concept as in finance. You're going to
No, no,
have
no, no, no,
a
no, 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 no,
weirdo,
no,
Jeffrey
no, no, no.
Epstein.
Hold up. I asked you a very specific question. A few bad apples do what? Finish that.
a few bad apples that have to be rooted out and removed
No, no,
from
no,
the
no, no,
system.
no, 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 no. I will tell you now because you're refusing to answer again because
I
it
don't.
does not fit your
Actually,
point.
I don't know what you're asking. Are
The
you
phrase,
asking me?
okay, the incredibly common phrase is a few bad apples spoil the bunch. Because apples, when they're bad, they release chemicals to make the apples around them decompose faster.
Oh, how do you deal with that? You remove the few bad apples.
Before they spoil the bunch, yeah. We didn't do that. We allowed them to stay.
So you're telling me that either you think there is much more corruption within the police system that currently exists because there is some level of prosecution for bad cops. I
Osiris in
see
my
the
chat
stories.
says there's over 1,000 police shootings a year, zero convictions.
A thousand police shootings. Yes, police have to use their firearms in all types of situations. Like I don't
Do
know
you
what
believe
you mean.
that all of them are justified?
What I asked you is, have you watched body cam footage of both the stuff? Because we've all
I've
seen the
watched
stuff
body cam footage, yes, and I
where the
think
cop
that
is wrong.
I've
Have you
overheard the
watched?
cops
I'm
escalate things
serious. No.
excessively.
Have you seen the body cam footage on like there's a great YouTube channel called Police Academy. They put both the horrific stuff that like young black male gets profiled and shot, and you also see the young black male who chooses to run or pull out a weapon or not comply with officer orders and gets himself shot. Like you see both sides, right? Where the cop is right and the cop is wrong. And so I think to myself, I'm like, man,
And
if I
I'm
had the
sure that's
chance,
not cherry picked at all. I'm sure. Oh yeah.
and here's the beauty of it. It's all there. So and it's unedited and it's from start
I'm
to
sure
finish.
it's not all there. Let's be honest here.
You can
It's
watch it and
edited.
you
For
can
one
decide.
thing, you just admitted it's edited, meaning someone had to choose that which they were
You
going to
can
show.
not watch the no, what I mean by unedited is the full stop from multiple positions from like all the surrounding officers and the full like engagement. Sometimes they're 8 minutes, sometimes they're short. So all I'm saying is just watch it for yourself and just think about if you had that job and one day you were facing down this guy and the next day you were facing down a George Brown or whatever the other situation is. And I wonder. I mean, these are very very tough jobs, and so I just think there's no
Yes,
respect
yes.
for the
It
profession.
is a very tough job, but I'm gonna let you
The
in on
left,
a little secret, okay? You know
yeah,
how I talked about the I know the nursing, I know
yeah,
healthcare.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a very tough job too. And I can tell you, if anyone ever abuses a patient, even if they're under a lot of stress, they get prosecuted. They lose their license. They go to
That's
prison.
good. That's good.
But
Yeah.
that doesn't happen to cops.
Hang on,
They're
hang on.
told
I've
they're
seen.
given the benefit of the doubt. They're given the benefit of the doubt that, oh, they had a bad day. You don't know what they were dealing with. You don't know how stressed they were. Well, 9 times out of 10, when I see them shoot somebody who is unarmed, by the way, unarmed,
Yeah.
they escalated it and they chose to pull their gun out. Usually they have their gun out at the moment that
Half of
they
those,
walked up to them.
half of those videos, man. I think about what if I was in that position.
Would you start with your gun out? For example,
I again,
a couple weeks okay,
if it's a
a couple
domestic
weeks ago, I
battery, it
watched
doesn't
on stream a
require.
video. It wasn't even a video of the cameras that they wear. It was a video of the camera in this person's house. He accidentally, one of his friends went home and he went to bed, and his friend accidentally set off the alarm. He shut off the alarm. It's, of course, a black guy. And called the security company and said, "Hey, my buddy accidentally set off the alarm. Just make sure the cops don't come. Because we're good." A cop showed up, yelled into the house with his gun already pulled, said the door was already open. It wasn't, and made him come out in his fucking boxers from his bedroom,
That's
not
appropriate.
armed or anything. Gave him the third degree before, and then cuffed him several minutes before they finally asked him
This
whether
is
or
how
not it was
policing
his
works.
house.
This is how policing works. There are certain ways you have to respond to certain calls, and hindsight is 2020. When like this is why you guys on the left need to go to the source, which is something that
I'm
is never
sorry. It
never
seems
done.
like if I'm showing up to somebody's house and they're
No,
in their boxers
what
and
I'm
they're saying
saying
I was sleeping,
is
the first thing I would say is, okay, can I see your ID?
come in. When
Not
the calls
not
come in,
after arguing with them, handcuffing them, making them get on the ground, and then asking for their
what if he
ID.
was
By the way,
argumentative?
once they found out it was his house, they then took him out to a squad car, put him in the back seat, and searched his house. They did not find a goddamn thing because he did nothing wrong.
You sound
You
upset.
may not like it, but that's the truth. Just because you
What
don't
I'm
like it
saying
doesn't
is,
make it untrue. But
in
you're already
in
sold on the
hindsight
idea that,
2020,
oh, they have such a tough job, so they should be allowed to abuse people the way that they do. No.
that's not what I said. I didn't say abuse. I can give you another video that I watched recently
And that will
where
make it
an
all
officer.
better, right? That will make that situation completely go
No.
away, and all the other situations that are similar just go
Every
away,
situation
right?
has to stand
And
on
the
its
fact
own.
that they're not prosecuted for the things that they do. He's lucky he's not dead, because that's usually how that works out.
So here's the thing. Why are most of these people resisting? Like, why can't they just comply with lawful orders
Oh
from
God,
police?
we're going
Like
there. Jesus Christ,
no
man.
no. Have
Are
you seen
you
the
just
video?
a Fox News talking point machine right now? Like, for fuck's sake, man. Do you have a
We're
single thought in
talking
your
about,
head that is yours?
and these are all independently arrived to conclusions that I have
No, they're not.
gathered.
No, they're not. You want to know why? I already had. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something. You know how the right came up with that meme that the left is the NPCs and they're just walking down a dialogue
Of
tree when
course,
you talk to them.
you guys are, yeah, yeah.
No, that's
That's
you
the
guys
first
because I
expression.
have heard this bullshit thousands of fucking times. Okay, thousands of
I'm
times.
just we're talking about
You
individual
have not
videos
told me
that we
one
saw,
thing that I have
right?
not heard before. You have not told
What
me
I'm
one
saying
thing.
is, well, again,
That's why I'm
this
getting
is
mad at the fact that you're vamping for hours and using buzzwords
this is a
because you're not
reflection of maybe
saying
some of your
anything real. You're
stubbornness.
not saying anything new. You're not
If you've heard,
original.
again, I'm not like, again, you seem to think like I'm here for like, I don't stream. I'm not here like, I'm not like a alt right. Like, I'm not gonna like post you to YouTube tomorrow and say like, oh, Mark Monkey exposed. Like, I'm not.
No, don't worry.
I'm
I'll
just
post you to YouTube.
okay. But I guess what I'm saying is, I'm not here for like, oh, I'm gonna like post you to some like alt right. Like, dude, I'm just here talking political ideas, and this is like, if you've
Yeah,
heard these
but you
ideas
talk a
before.
bunch of bullshit, man.
I don't know. No, I think
I know
what I'm
you think
saying.
it's good because you're the one saying it, but I'm telling you, all this is
My goal
bullshit.
is to just talk to the right
Everything
person.
that you said
Right?
is
Like,
easily debunked with the minimal amount of research, literally.
and
And
this is
I've
why
heard
a
it
16-year-old
all
is
before.
okay.
You are walking down a dialogue tree to get to your next point. That's why you
I'm
can't stay on topic because
I'm
you run out of ways to answer what I'm saying because you ran out of those topics in your dialogue tree.
I've got you on a 70-inch screen in my living room right now. I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking over the Pacific Ocean. I'm sitting on a $3,000 leather couch,
Cool.
and I'm just having a
Good for you.
conversation, man. I'm not here to like walk down any sort of dialogue tree or
But you
like
are though. But you
any sort of.
are.
These are just what rational people think. If you've heard these
No, it's
ideas before,
not. Because if you were actually rational, you would have actually done the research to find out that you're full of shit.
let
You
me
would
answer that.
actually be open to the things I'm saying. Instead, what you're doing, when I say a thing, you're like, well, no, but no, I guess I'll take you at your word that this is a
Look,
thing, but let me create this scenario where it actually proves that I'm right. And then
I've
you
done
move on
plenty.
to a different subject when
No,
I
I've
respond
done
to it.
rebuttals. I've done rebuttals. I've given you specific examples. I've talked in generalities. I've given you
You've given me buzzwords.
contrast.
You've given me Charlie
And then,
Kirk talking points. I'm basically arguing with a PragerU video right now.
okay, all right. Well, I'm flattered, but
Well, you
yeah,
shouldn't
I'm
be.
not here
You really
to.
shouldn't be. PragerU is fucking
Why is
stupid.
that? Oh, really? Is that? Do they trigger you guys so much? What's
No, they
what?
don't trigger me. They're stupid. They're wrong. They're
Why is that?
wrong on the facts. There's whole like YouTube pages dedicated to debunking their videos, and it's very easily done because they're
Look,
silly. They're propaganda. Do
a lot of them.
Frozen Harlequin has an important
I
question
don't.
for
I
you.
don't
Do
agree.
SJWs trigger you?
I'll be honest, and I was honest with you earlier. Yes, that your climate change figurehead absolutely triggered me.
Oh my
I could
God,
not
no.
believe that you guys are screaming that like scientists have solved climate warming, and the best front face you have for your whole shtick is a 16-year-old activist who's cutting school and
And
telling other kids to do the same. It's just and I just see it because I see it
oh.
in like my
She
circle
couldn't
of
she
friends.
couldn't possibly be right. She's 16 and she's only listening to what the scientists have been saying about this for 40 fucking years, and we didn't listen when it was scientists saying it. It doesn't, it matters that she's 16 and she's skipping school. What type of degenerate skips school? Or I don't know, takes her fucking lessons on the road with her? Like, this is so silly.
Don't need 16-year-old child activists who don't have fully formed adult brains to have rational opinion or any lived experience to have any points of views about issues facing global humanity. We don't need that. We need people who have studied the body of work that we're looking into, and
But
we
we
need those
don't
people
listen to them. We don't listen to
because
them.
now
They
because they don't have
exist. We
compelling
don't
arguments.
listen to them. They've
No,
been talking for 30, 40, 50 years, and we
the
have not listened to them. Like I said, I'm
doctors
going to
have been
bring it up
talking about
again.
how smoking is bad.
Mobile had a study that proved that back in the 80s that global climate change was coming and that they were leading to it, and they hit it, and they just had to be prosecuted under the Obama administration because they were hiding it from their shareholders.
So I'm gonna tune into this Central Committee. I usually don't watch them. I think they're too left for me, but I'm gonna tune.
Okay, maybe you learned something. I,
Maybe
I
not. Maybe
seriously hope you do.
yeah, yeah. No, no. Again,
But
I
and
talk to a lot of different
I'm gonna
people.
ask that you have more of an open mind than what you've had with me, because literally you're just trying to find a way to dunk on and score points when actually I'm trying to have a conversation with you.
Look, I literally have like right now I have 15 tabs open. Okay.
I don't care. That doesn't tell me anything.
Well, what I'm sharing with you is what I'm taking away from the conversation. People who don't listen, who want to dunk on like leftists or whatever, don't walk away with 15 tabs of random things we talked about, right? Like
You're ready
I've
to
got,
move on to the next one.
I don't know,
That's all that tells me.
the
You've
next
told
one,
me that
next
you
tab.
just go around arguing with leftists. And I guarantee you've been told all this before because the facts don't change. But
Well, hang on.
you just
Let me
refuse
let
to
me let
accept
me
them in
end
the
on
first place.
let me end on this. Is it possible that I believe what I believe, same conviction that you believe what you believe, and could we both be right? I'm just I'm just I'm wondering if could be a reality in your world. Can I believe what I believe with the same conviction you have in what you believe, and can both of us be right or no? Can I be right about so again, I don't have to be right on everything. I'm just curious. Can I be and this is where SJWs get stung the hardest because
Oh my God,
they
we're
will
going
not
back to that old
allow
chestnut.
no no, but this is but
Were you gonna
again,
let me answer
I'm
your
posing
question, or are
the
you just gonna keep harping about SJWs and
you're
the
supposed to
left and the
say
regressive
no.
left and blah
Every
blah blah? PragerU video, Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro,
I love all those
you
guys. I
know.
watch all of them, and I also watch. By the
What a
way, I
shock!
started
Wow,
watch.
because you sound
Hang
exactly
on,
like them, and
hang
you
on.
have about as many facts as they do, because they're wrong about
I
everything. By the
watch.
way,
I recently found about ContraPoints from actually from either it was Destiny or Hassan's stream. But I found ContraPoints. I hate
hmm.
her so much, but
Oh
I
my,
watch her stuff.
why?
I watch her stuff because
And
I
you're just
I want to know what other people. I want to understand how
ContraPoints
they're
is
living
right.
with
You don't like her because
gender
she
dysphoria.
goes against your beliefs. by pointing out facts. That's what I was going to point out when you asked that question. No, it is
what's
possible
your
for
answer?
us to believe different things, but the facts are what they are.
Oh,
The facts are what they are. I've talked in facts, you've talked in pablum.
so okay, so that's your opinion. I think a lot of the
No,
stuff
no,
you
no, no, no,
share,
no, no. That is a fact.
I've rebutted a lot of your stuff. I proved
Not
you
well.
wrong on
You've
on
called
on.
me an SJW, said SJWs do this, and you've shifted the complaint. I've brought actual facts to you, and you've said, well, if you look at it this way, I'm right.
Here's the
But
thing.
that's
I can
not a
live in a
point.
world.
That doesn't disprove the fact that
I,
exists, which
I
is
can
why,
I can live in a
again,
world.
like Harley Quinn has pointed out, you have not cited one thing in this entire thing. You just pointed out things that bother you about people. It's all feelings. You feel a certain way. That is your opinion to feel
We
a
just
certain
had a
way. But
45
when
minute
you talk
discussion.
about facts, there are only one set of facts. Yes, climate change is real. Yes, systemic oppression is real. These things do exist. And yes,
No,
the
hold on a
left
second.
is going to win, and the left is going to give you fucking healthcare, bud. I'm sorry to tell you. Poor people are
I,
going to be able to
well,
help themselves soon. It'll be awesome, and you'll hate it
pay
because your
my tax.
taxes will go up slightly. Bummer.
Yeah, I mean that's. But look, here's where I think we have common ground. I think we're
You've made
both.
this stance before, but we'll see.
No. I think we both want what's best for the country, right?
Yeah,
I think you love you. Do you love America? I really deep
I
down.
love the idea of what it can
Are
be.
you ashamed? Are you ashamed
I
to
am
be
ashamed of
American?
America right now, yes.
Wow,
I've been ashamed of
that.
America ever since the Bush administration.
I don't know. I hope you wake up, man. And
I'm very, very woke.
okay, yeah, I'm sure you
Which
are.
is
Hey,
why
it's
I've talked facts and you've talked feelings.
uh,
Get over your feels, bud. Get over your
okay.
feels. That's my advice to you.
I'll work on that. Okay,
Yep.
but
And actually
I'll be
listen to what
watching.
people are saying. Talk a little bit less and do a little bit more listening.
I'll be watching and listening on Central Committee whenever you
Okay, good. I
back
hope
on the
so.
show. And good meeting you, man. Again, I'm not here to like troll or anything. Just someone who thinks
Okay.
differently. And
Stop watching PragerU. That's my other
yeah,
advice. Stop
it's
watching
okay.
Ben
But here's
Shapiro
the thing.
because all those
It's
people
just
are bad
it's
for you.
a place of ideas. Like this is what the left can't. Like it's like you guys
It's
just
not
want
ideas.
to.
It's
It's
propaganda,
like
bud. It's
you guys
propaganda.
just want to
Ben
shut down
Shapiro has not been right
the
on one
ideas.
thing. Ben Shapiro has not been correct on one
How
thing.
is that Shapiro's been right? Even if you hate the guy, I bet he's right. I, I'd say in the worst 50, let's say 40% of the time. 40% of the time, he probably has ideas that will help you sharpen your own liberal thinking. And it's not about censoring others. It's not about shutting down the marketplace of ideas. Like
No
this is
one's
what the
shutting
left.
down any marketplace of ideas. We're actually having actual ideas, and we're not talking about feelings.
I'm telling you that I watch leftist YouTubers and folks on the right. And your point of view and
Osiris says to
every other
present one link that supports your stance.
that what having diverse ideas is a good thing. That's on
Well,
one. Like we've talked about so
that's
many
that's that's
different
that's
things.
such
But
a
like,
broad statement there. Just having diverse ideas is
but
a good thing.
here's Mark. Here's
Everything from eugenics to
hold on.
authoritarianism needs to be accepted as an idea that we should
Here's the problem.
practice and look into, right?
Let's not worry about if Ben Shapiro should be platformed or deplatformed. Like, let's just let
I don't care
all
whether he's
ideas live.
platformed or
Well,
deplatformed. I just
you
think he
just told
sucks and
me
you guys listen to him way too much. Considering how stupid he actually is. I mean, the dude told people to sell their flooded homes after they're flooded from climate change.
and get and move to better.
He made the
Not,
argument
not a good
that the
idea.
singular they does not exist in English when it's
Hang
existed
on,
since the
hang on. I
1300s.
want to address some of. Okay, so I just gave
He
you an
once made
example
a statement
of
about Flint
facts
where
that
he said we were controlled by nothing but black people at the time of the water crisis when our mayor was white.
really everything is just binary. Like this is why
No, no, no. This is literally him.
Ben
He's made
Shapiro
these
said that
claims. If he's
that
so
about
goddamn smart, why is he wrong so much? Why does he sound so fucking stupid whenever he says anything?
commentators are not. No one has
Because you
100% hit
feel
rate.
he's right. You do not have the facts. You feel he's
I'm saying
right because
no one has a lot.
he
Okay,
plays to what you believe, what you feel in your
David
heart.
Pakman,
And I'm
he's the
talking
David
what you feel,
Pakman.
what you can see with your eyes and what you can actually interpret with your brain.
It's the same as David Pakman is for you guys, right? Like,
No.
right?
No. There's a
Yes.
lot that I disagree with David Pakman on. Don't ever listen to him on anything regarding Palestine, Israel, or Muslims. But
Huh?
that's not the same thing. Because he still
All I'm
operates
saying is,
mostly in
so
facts. He's
David
not all
Pakman is
feelings.
wrong on a few things, right? But hang on. It's kind
Like
of weird
what?
to hear
Like what?
you and
Let's
the
go there.
leftists
Like what?
claiming that Ben Shapiro works off of feelings and not facts. Like
Yes, I
the guy
can prove
invented
that.
facts
I've
rather than
actually
feelings.
already proved that.
The guy invented.
All his statements on transgender people is all based on how he
Oh,
feels,
okay.
and
So
he
hold on.
refuses to admit that there's a
The
difference
whole,
between talking
the whole,
biology and talking language. He will
the
never
whole
admit
split
he's talking
hairs.
language, and he was wrong 9 times out of 10 when he does talk about language.
It's a whole sort of intellectual dark web kind of people that have
The
sort of
intellectual dark web that's paid multiple millions of dollars by billionaires to be
but
their
you know,
mouthplaces.
dude, honestly, dude, it's not even like they're just people think differently. This goes back to the crux of my question. Can I believe what I believe, or like a person on the right believe what they believe? Because I'm actually centrist. Um,
I'll tell
like
you, you're not.
like again, I don't fully agree. Like I let you go on about Ben Shapiro because like he triggers you guys so much that like I love seeing you guys
No,
get
no, no,
really
no, 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 no.
like it bothers
Let
me
me
that
tell
he
you
gets
I'm
millions
going to
and
tell
millions
you
of
again
views.
what triggers me about him. Okay,
I,
it's
I don't
not
agree.
him.
Or,
It's not
I'm
him.
I'm not
It's not
okay.
him.
Like me
It's
who
the fact
watch him.
that people give him the benefit
Is
of the doubt
oh okay.
because he talks fast and
Is it the millions of views that he can get that David Pakman can't? Is it the fact that like even as YouTube deplatforms conservatives on YouTube that they're still crushing? Like I watched a surf's video. I watched a surf's video.
You have
And
no idea what gets demonetized
let
on
me
YouTube. Why is it that any videos regarding transgender people gets demonetized? Did you even know that happens
advertisers.
largely to transgender and gay people?
Do you know why? Because these are sensitive topics. Like you brought up some political topics earlier. Those are
But it's gay people
do you think
talking about themselves.
do you
Trans
think
people
black
talking about
people?
themselves, and they're being
Hold on,
demonetized
interrupt you.
more than conservatives.
Let me ask you
Oh
this.
my God.
Do you think
It's
do you
almost
think
like the bias it goes across more than just conservatism, and conservatism is able to stay afloat because it's funded by billionaires. You think those
birthplace of
views
ideas?
are real?
Uh, yes.
No.
Okay, so no
Several of
one's
these
watching
people have
these
been
guys.
caught. Several of these
No one's
people have been
watching these
caught
guys.
buying views. Ben
Well,
Shapiro is one of them. Charlie
these aren't
Kirk is another one.
people are like these are millions and millions of real people who again I don't agree. Just I want to be super clear on one thing. I'm not a
Hmm.
Shapiro shill. I'm not a Charlie Kirk. Like
You're making a lot of their
there are
arguments.
things. No. There are things they say. Some on like liberally I'm more social, and so I'm more on the left. But that's again I love watching you guys get upset, and this goes back to the crux of my question. Can I believe what I believe with the same
Uh,
conviction that you believe in what you believe? Most people on the right can answer that about the San Francisco like crowd. They can say yes, people living in coastal cities who are living their lives as like quote unquote SJWs, right? Not I'm not calling you that. I'm just saying in quotes. They can believe what they believe the same way conservatives can. But it's folks on the left who want to censor, silent, and end all these voices. And that is something that you can never ever win with as a party, as an idea, as a platform. You need to let ideas live open and freely, right? And the more you guys want to like say stuff like "Don't ever watch Ben Shapiro," that to me just proves your closed-mindedness so much. And
What if I said don't watch
this is
David
why
Duke?
you're repressive.
What if I said don't watch
But
David
I
Duke?
don't watch David Duke. I don't even watch I couldn't tell you,
Okay, but what
I'm a
if I
big
said
computer
don't
science
watch David Duke? Would you have the same stance? Probably not.
It's like the
You'd be
same
like,
thing
yeah,
as
don't watch
like
David Duke
when you
because he's known to
what
be
kind
a
of
racist. He's a KKK member and he's going to spread nothing but propaganda
but
that fits
again
his
now you're
narrative.
pretending you're debating like a white I'm not. I don't watch him. Like
I'm
what kind of
not I'm not saying you are. You're not listening is the problem. I'm
I'm
saying
telling
if
you
I
don't
told
watch
you
David
to
Duke.
not watch David
This is
Duke
like
right
me
now, in
saying
the same
I
context that I'm saying not to watch Ben Shapiro, you would probably agree to not watch David Duke because you recognize already because society's already told you this that yes, he is a
here's the thing.
KKK
No,
member.
no, no.
Yes, he is
Just
a
to be clear,
racist. Yes, he
I
is a
don't
propagandist. But you know who else is? Ben
because he doesn't.
Shapiro.
No, he's not.
Yes,
But
he
David Duke
is.
doesn't traffic in ideas that I care about. Like
He's owned by like
you tell
fracking millionaires for fuck's sake.
it's just
Uh,
I don't know, man. It's just
I'm not. I'm
let's.
not deplatforming him. I'm telling you that watching him is bad
I'm
for
on
your
this.
mental health, man. Because clearly,
If there,
clearly, you're having
there,
mental problems right now.
and I'll end on this because I, I respect your views. I like your chat. I think you've articulated some. I think you're wrong on a lot of stuff.
I'm gonna. Let me answer your
I
question real
watch.
quick about
Who should I watch?
whether or not we can believe in everything equally. I'm going to say this very, very slowly. You have a right to your own opinion. You do not have a right to your own facts.
Okay, and can I believe what I believe with the same conviction? Because you must surely
You
know that
don't have
believe
facts, you have feelings. You're talking about beliefs, I'm talking about existing things,
so every
provable
view. Okay,
things.
every view you have politically is 100% proven with
Yes.
unequivocal, and you have no opinions that are based on.
Yes.
Okay, and so you are 100% logical on every political statement and record you've ever made on stream. Okay.
Yes.
Well, look,
And
you're
if I'm
clearly a
wrong on
better
a
man
fact, here's
than I
here's
am.
here's here's what I'll tell you. If I'm wrong on a fact, if I find out that the whole time I've been wrong on a fact, and this has happened a number of
You will
times in
change
my
your
life,
mind.
which led me to where I am now. If I'm ever wrong on a fact, I adjust my beliefs to
Okay,
fit the
and
facts,
that's why
not
I'm
the
a
facts to
centrist.
fit my beliefs.
This is why it's most important to start from the center as a default. You should not be riding
But
these
you're
center
not starting from the center.
tribes.
You're starting from what you believe the center to be, but you're a right winger, man. You are a right winger.
Okay, I mean you can keep you threw out a lot of labels. You accuse me of watching David Duke.
SJW. You cannot make that claim when you call people SJWs at the left, the regressive left, the entire fucking time. Come on, man. Please stop that. Please, I've told you
Okay,
several times to stop doing that. You cannot accuse me of using these labels when you use more labels than me the entire time.
okay. I really enjoyed learning and finding ContraPoints. Okay, and I
And
attribute
you
it to
hater.
a
You
left.
hater.
I hate her and I watch her. But do you know why I watch her? I don't hate watch her. I watch her because I'm interested in how people with gender dysphoria are thinking about politics, right? And so I I think it's important to watch people I know. So here's my question to you. Who on YouTube or Twitch right now do you think is publishing the best sort of information? Who has the best movement or ideas around what you believe to be true? And whatever you give me, I'm gonna follow, watch, and binge on. But I want to end on this. Like, who is the most interesting person? And again, I want to take this out of like left and just who is doing either political stuff you like or you watch and you say, man, this is content that resonates with me because I want to watch it.
Okay. And you'll like this a lot because he has a show that you can call into. and talk to him about.
If it's Solid Jake, we got in a fight on stream and
I
he
have
couldn't.
no idea who that is.
Who is it? Who is it?
Sam Cedar, Majority Report.
Oh my God, dude, Sam Cedar.
Mm-hmm.
He's on YouTube.
Yeah, the
Oh
Majority
yeah,
Report.
I've seen his clips and stuff. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm. Him and Michael Brooks are excellent at what they do. And Sam loves to debate people from the other side. You said you're center libertarian. He loves to take down libertarians. He's got
Okay,
he's got a
he's a
whole
takedown guy.
playlist of it. He's
Okay.
debated Walter Block. He's debated Daryl. Oh fuck, what is his name? He was a presidential. He's debated. God, I'm forgetting the names of all the people he's
A
debated.
lot of
But
Sam
in the
Cedar.
past, he's debated Stefan Molyneux.
Okay. Oh wow, that's
Yeah,
yeah. I'm just going through his
he
feed.
debated Charlie Kirk at Politicon last year. Won
Blocked by Dave Rubin.
easily.
Uh-oh. Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah, he's been trying to. Dave Rubin has been avoiding him for a long time and finally blocked him. Ironically, after he joined the Blaze. That's weird. Hmm.
All right. Well, I'm gonna check out. I'm on his Twitter page, and I'm gonna binge watch his stuff, and
Yeah,
maybe I'll.
do that. Go through his libertarian playlist. Have fun with that.
All right, man. I appreciate you having me on the show. I think we covered a lot of different things. And
Sure.
yeah, I'll be watching on Central Committee, and I'll be memeing in chat too. So,
Okay. All right.
brothers,
Have a good
take
one.
care. Yeah.
Yikes. What the fuck? Oh my god. Oh, that's maddening. That was maddening. Uh, yeah. Yeah, it went nowhere, man. Yeah. He's apparently a staple on Twitch. He's so worried about us leftists being on Twitch. But he's completely fine with right wingers being on YouTube. Yeah, yeah, alright. I'll bring you in.
Hey, sorry, hold on. Let me just do some stuff first, and I'll get to you.
Okay. I gotta go on that Kenny actually messaged me not too long ago, so I don't have too long.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say how I would have dealt with that because I think I would have been more childish than you, but it was really.
I was trying really hard to like rein it back in. Jesus.
I do think there's some value in being childish. Actually, I think there's actually some value in it sometimes. But yeah, I'm surprised she lasted that long. Honestly.
Yeah, I'm very very stubborn in that way. I could have gone a long time, and I'm glad that I didn't have to go anymore. I wasn't gonna give up before him. I will say that.
No, if you'd invited me in, I would have probably said something like, "Why is it that people on the right are always like this? They're always calling people traitors. They're always calling, just kind of do the exact same thing
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
See how long it takes for him to catch up because it's kind of how childish. Well, it would have been funny.
I mean, I like I said in the DM, I didn't want him to feel like he was ganged up on because there's an extent that like when I've you know when we've been on Leon's stream, like the right wingers feel kind of ganged up on, and it was a pretty even split when I was on Killer Steven's stream last night, and that was
Oh,
interesting.
I did see a bit of that. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
do get what you mean though. I was just saying that if you got fed up with it, then
Yeah, but that was maddening because it was literally gish gallop, gish gallop, gish gallop. The SJWs triggered like I just argued with a Sargon video, man.
well, I mean, I thought one of the most telling things was the fact that he didn't know that Greta was 16. he'd already assumed that she was 13 because obviously it's like, oh, 13-year-old girl, how does she know anything? She
Yeah,
doesn't really know
I
anything.
even corrected him, and he kept saying 16. That shows how much he
Um,
was listening.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's like if he doesn't even know as basic a fact as that, how can you trust him on basically anything he has to say about it? Like
Yeah.
he doesn't even know that like the really basic fact whether she actually is a little girl, quote unquote, or not.
Hmm.
I know she looks kind of little, but
Yeah,
looks
I
can be
mean,
deceiving, right?
yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, Hassan was just talking to, I forget how they identify. They go by they, but someone, and they looked like they looked like 12, but they said they were 17. And everyone
Yeah.
in chat is like, "Whoa, they look young." It's like, yeah, but he blew their stuff up by sharing a picture of them. They're British, and he called them the Doomer Zoomers.
But no, it's just really wild that kind of like, oh my God, everybody is so tribal, the whole country's so divided, we're all so divided along these lines. And also, did you know that the left is like crazy SJWs?
That's what I was
They,
trying to get him to realize. I'm like, dude, you're doing that. It's not
yeah,
the left. It's literally you putting up
yeah,
the
what?
wall, SJWs, and ignoring the fact that ignoring the things that Trump has said and done. That is far more divisive than anything the left has said and done.
It happens in my country too. I mean, like, we hear, well, I mean, obviously nowadays it's like the Ramona Brexiter stuff, but we
Mm-hmm.
hear all about how the Ramonas are like dividing the country and doing this, that, and the other. The fucking Brexiteers posted a newspaper headline that literally said enemies of the people and had a picture of three judges that they didn't like because they said the wrong thing in a court case. Like, I've never seen anybody on the left accused. Well, maybe they do. Like, I'm sure there's some
No,
leftists out there that do it, right? But
I have never came across any leftist who has called like literally anyone the enemy of the people. I mean, there are dumb libs that say that about Donald Trump, but I mean,
I mean, there definitely
they
are.
still believe that Robert Mueller is going to come out and arrest him. So
Yeah,
we don't worry about them.
yeah. I
But
mean, it's like they recognize that the right isn't a monolith, right? I mean, that's objectively true. It isn't a monolith, right? There are obviously a diversity of opinions there, but at the same time, they're not willing to permit the same thing for people on the opposite side. It's all like part of this grand tapestry of people who all kind of meet in covens and decide that they're going to ruin the universities and make academia bad or whatever.
mhm.
For no apparent reason. Like I've never heard any reason why they do this. It's just either because their feelings are hurt or because that's just what people on the left do.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's part of why I brought up that video by Innuendo Studios. I don't know if you've seen it. It's
Yeah,
super good. But I
yeah. I
mean,
think I've seen it. Yeah,
yeah, I made the statement about how how tribal the right is by pointing out that you have person A and person B on the right that may disagree on most things, but they're on the right. And when they are arguing with the leftists, person A will make person B's arguments, and person B will make person A's arguments, regardless to what they actually believe. So and I pointed that out, and he just ignored it completely.
yeah. It's like they believe that leftists are tribal and that they treat everybody just kind of really awfully, but at the same time, they believe that Joe Biden is literally a communist.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my God, what were you were there for that mind waves debate when
Uh, part of it, I think. I kind of watch this stuff kind of late at night, so I don't always pay that much attention.
yeah, a lecture fan said that Joe Biden is too far left for the entire country.
Well, I would say that one day. Let's
Yeah,
be
he would.
honest.
God, he's an idiot.
Well,
But
he's doing pretty well at the moment. He's on the Raj stream again. This is the third time he's been on it. I think they're having trouble finding the. I mean, he was right about one thing. There are a lot of left wing people on Twitch, but
yeah,
I
no,
don't know
I'm I
okay.
that's something I wanted to actually get to, and we couldn't get to that. Like my point would have been, well, okay, there's a lot of right wing people on YouTube and on Periscope. You know, why is it bad that we have this platform? Why
Yeah.
is this a problem?
He's not in the chat anymore, but if he was, I would have wanted to ask this at the end of it, right? Because he started by coming in and talking about how he felt that these ideas were dangerous and that it's really bad that they're all over Twitch and stuff like that. And then he ended by pleading that people should be able to respect each other's ideas and listen to each other.
Oh God,
Like,
I
it's
should have
such a
threaded that
contrast.
needle.
It's such a contrast between his earlier stance and how he ended up. Like,
God, I really wish I would have threaded that needle.
no,
I didn't even think about it because like this is why it's so like it can be very tiring to talk to right wingers like that who just like I had more fun talking to the Killer Steven and them last night. Like that was a more even keeled debate than this because like literally he wasn't listening to anything I was saying. Like I feel like I talked to literally just a right wing video.
the spreadsheet. I think I typed that in the chat actually. It's like arguing for spreadsheet.
Yeah, like dialogue tree, 110%, and like he shifted topics so much at the most random times that like I couldn't even remember why I brought him in the first place until you just said it.
Yeah, no. If I mean, how I do it, like I don't really debate very often. But partly because like the kind of people I don't tend to get those kind of people in my own chat. I think because probably what I'm talking about is a bit intimidating, maybe.
True.
I did have one guy come in and tell me that the BNP, British Nationalist Party, was going to win the next election. I mean, that was amusing.
Yikes.
Not sure how he figured out that a bankrupt party was going to win an election, but you know.
Yikes.
But yeah, you just got to stick to one topic. You know, you've got to hammer it into them. You say, okay, we're not talking about that. We're going back to the topic. We're just talking about the one topic. This is.
I tried so hard to do that, and he kept shifting and saying just like utter nonsense, and I'm like, okay, so this is where he wants this to be. Like, God, what was it? We were talking about race, and then all of a sudden he brought up. What was the next thing he brought up?
Was it police officers or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
pivoted into that hate cap stuff real fast.
Yeah, like just out of nowhere, we were talking about like race and inequality of classes, and then it was, well, ACAB. I don't like ACAB.
Yeah, and then at the end it was like, well, look how triggered you are. You're really triggered by Ben Shapiro. How triggered you are. And then like moments prior, he just said that ContraPoints literally makes him seethe, basically. Like, if that's not being triggered, then what is, right? Like,
I mean, yeah. That's why I started pointing out that it's his feelings that are hurt, and
yeah.
it's not a matter of it's not a matter of you're putting me in this corner where you're just so right that that I can't handle it. It's you're repeating the same thing over and over again that I've already debunked, showing that you were not listening to me. And you're arguing from a point of just your feelings. And yeah, I'm going to get aggravated when you come in and just repeat shit to me that I've heard 10,000 times that I've already debunked.
Mm-hmm.
And then just gish gallop a long... Like, he would ask me a question and then continue for another 10 minutes after it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I think he came in at the start, and he was also talking about like having an honest discussion. But the way he framed it at the beginning as well was like, "Oh, I've talked to all these other streamers, and I've humiliated them in front of their chat, made them look like it's like, okay, how honest is any conversation going to be there?"
Oh, as soon as he said something about SJWs, I was like, okay, this is gonna suck.
Yeah, it's like designed to annoy you, and then if you get annoyed, then they've won. That's kind of how the debate works.
Yeah.
It's so I honestly think the only way sometimes to deal with it is just to be really childish.
Harley Quinn says, "I've never seen Mo Money humiliate anyone."
I think we just saw him humiliate himself.
Yeah.
No,
yeah. I mean, like the shit where he said, oh, I'm watching you on a 70-inch screen sitting on a $3,000 couch, and I'm like,
yeah, You should have said something like, well, I'm streaming this from like a Casio calculator. What difference does it make?
Yeah, seriously. It's like, dude, my fucking PC chair costs like $40 from IKEA.
I am actually Jeff Bezos in disguise, and I live in a
Yes.
£50 billion mansion on the moon. Like, what relevance would it have? to
My
whether
last
you're right
name
or
is
wrong?
Soros.
Yeah. I actually am George Soros. Yeah, it's just
Yes.
okay.
I'm gonna take my mask off, and I'm a 90-year-old man.
It is like that image I sent you though, because I did just say, like in that chat, I said the AR in Assault Rifle 15 stands for Assault Rifle, and then loads of people started atting me and I said they're saying you're wrong, and I said no, I'm right. It does stand for Assault Rifle, and the more you insist on it, the angrier they got, and eventually they figured out that I was just trying to be annoying because I said something like, someone said you're so wrong, and I said like, well, actually, I should know because I work in the assault rifle factory, and it's my job to carve the words assault rifle onto the barrel of each gun.
Oh God, that's
Yeah,
so good.
And then it says, I think it said like AK-47. It stands for assault, and then Kalashnikov is Russian for rifle, so it's assault rifle 47.
I saw that.
Yeah.
That was in Steven's chat, right?
It was during somebody's debate. I found it really funny that Primrose messaged, at me about it. Actually, I like Touring News messaged me about it, and he says, "You're not right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know I'm not right. I'm just saying it to annoy people."
Oh, I love Touring.
I like the guy, but I just thought it was funny that he...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I it's my feeling that the AR in AR-15 stands for assault rifle.
Yeah, just say it's true. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
that it obviously isn't. We live in a post-facts world now anyway, so it might as well be true.
We do. Like, it's been a problem that I've had for a while, and I recognized it, I think it was 2015 when I started, like, posting about it. But, like the blurred lines between opinion and fact. Like, he kept trying to say, well, you can respect my opinion, and I'm like, but no, because you're trying to make up facts.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I'm sorry. I refuse to just go, yeah, we agree to disagree on the existence of verifiable evidence. I can't do that, man. I just cannot.
Yeah.
Oh, hurts my heart.
It's or it's like the kind of well, do you believe that Ben Shapiro could be right about anything? Well, yeah, I'm sure that he is aware of like basic facts that you need to eat food to survive and stuff like that. I'll give him that much credit, but that's not really what we're on about, is it? Like,
Yeah, he's capable of putting his pants on in the morning. That's clear.
Yeah, he knows how to do. Well, actually, is it clear? Maybe someone does it for him. I've never seen any evidence to the contrary.
You're right.
Facts don't care about your pants.
Pants don't care about your feelings.
No, don't tell him that. I'll really upset him.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So you're going to go on your central committee thing in a bit?
Yeah, Kenny said give him a half hour to an hour, but they're going live right now. Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I wouldn't try and annoy people when there's actually any kind of thing you could get out of an argument, but I do think that you can sometimes just annoy people. It's worthwhile sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm just childish though. That's how I think about it.
I mean, I was getting there too. Like, because I just got tired of him vamping for a half hour at a time. Because I'm like, man, you talk so much. Like, it's no wonder that people got pissed off at you in the chat, because you just talk so much. You don't stop.
I'm wondering about the context of that insult that he did. Saying, who did he say it was again? Sorry, I forgot who it was. The trans comment thing.
Izzy Bear.
Izzy Bear, yeah. I do wonder about that. Like, what actually happened there? Like,
yeah,
because he said he apologized, but you can kind of imagine what sort of apology.
Yeah, I mean, because he followed it up with, well, she doesn't pass.
Well,
I'm
I'm
like,
sorry, but it's not my fault.
yeah,
That
it's like,
kind of...
dude, you knew she was trans, you knew she was a trans woman, therefore, like saying now, well, she doesn't pass, it doesn't mean anything. You've already accepted the fact, and you just chose to fuck it up.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know,
it's like
Harley
it's
Quinn.
yeah, it's contextual, isn't it? It's all content, but
Yeah.
context doesn't exist.
And that's why I
Um,
pointed out the way he types is very aggressive. Like, it was a paragraph at a time. I didn't have a time to answer him on
are
anything
you sure he
because
typed it? Maybe he just copied and pasted it.
it felt like it. It felt
Yeah.
like that. It was so weird.
Yeah.
Just paragraphs at a time. And I'm like, dude, you need to calm down, and if you want to ask me a question, give me time to respond. And he never did that. Like, I would start to answer a question, and he would already start interrupting me, and I'd have to stop him.
Yeah, you just really got to keep it focused. You just always you can't give an inch on it. You just got to always go back to the first topic and just do that. And
Yeah.
even if it takes you an hour, like it's better than this kind of like, well, okay, I've kind of been shown up on this topic, but here's a new topic. It's like here's the new thing out of my box of tricks, like some kind of shit magician. Like on stage with a magic box, just pulling out all these cards and stuff. Ridiculous.
Well, what about this?
Yeah,
Oh, you have an
what
answer for that? Let me stop you before you finish it. And what about this?
Yeah, basically, yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
No,
I didn't even like on the cop thing. I didn't even get to point out the Department of Justice study that showed that white supremacists have been taking over police precincts all over the country. Like, I didn't even get to that, and that's
so
true.
the best part about that was when he was talking about this YouTube channel, he admitted that there was horrible stuff on there. So presumably the police are doing horrible stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he is aware of that. But it seems like it's almost kind of like, well, half of it is horrible stuff that police do, but half of it is good stuff that police do. So
Yeah.
it's impossible to know whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
And
that was kind of my point. It's like, okay, so they selectively edit it so that you kind of sit in the middle and be like, whatever, things happen. Ignoring the fact that, police in this country are not prosecuted for the bad things that they do. So that would be a net negative, regardless to the videos that you show me of cops doing good things. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make your argument better. It doesn't confirm anything at all. It's just a group of carefully selected videos, and that's it.
Yeah,
Cool.
because it's not like this is coming from anywhere in particular. It's not like this is like, oh, this is the official live stream where some robot just uploads every single cop video that ever existed ever, and you can just peruse them at your own fancy. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think he linked it, did he? He didn't actually link the channel.
Yeah, no, he didn't. He didn't link anything. And I mean,
So-
I wasn't gonna sit there and look it up because I kind of had the feeling that he wasn't being honest, anyways. The only reason I sent him that link was because Harley Quinn went through all the trouble to look for it, and I appreciate that, Harley Quinn. You're awesome.
Oh, the other thing as well, just real quick. This idea that we can't do anything about climate change because the rest of the world isn't going to do anything about it. Have they ever heard of something called the Ozone Treaty? I just want to know this. Have they ever heard?
No,
of
you
the
know
Ozone
the answer
Treaty?
to that. You know the answer to that.
It's not like these things, similar situations haven't occurred, and we've been able to find common ground and use like law and policy in order to get countries agree to do things. Up until a certain point, until very recently, climate change and environmental treaty policy was the easiest sort of treaty policy you could do because basically, during the Cold War, Russia and the US had a lot of disagreements over stuff. But the one thing they could agree on was things like, well, actually, it's probably not such a good idea to do this or that with the environment. And that's why, like, some of the earliest treaties we have are fucking environmental treaties of one sort or another, like a treaty between Canada and the United States that says that Canada can't build its factories on the border so that the smog goes over the borders. They just, it's like all that stuff, all the effort that's been put into trying to do these things just vanishes. It's like scientists have been sitting on their ass one day until George Soros decided that we're going to need an activist now. So I'm going to go down to Sweden I'm going to go to the little girl market and I'm going to pick out a girl who's suitable for my nefarious purpose. Then I'm going to promote her with my evil dark money. It's like living in cartoon villain world. That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah, like that's why I kept pointing that out. It's like, do you think that they went this mysterious they went down and found this girl to do this? No, she chose to, because we weren't listening to the scientists. Well, I don't like that it's a 16-year-old girl. It should be a scientist. All right. Well, we've tried that. And where did it lead us? We've tried celebrities, we've tried musicians, we've tried politicians, we've tried everything, and now we're down to a 16-year-old girl who's going to have to live through all these mistakes, choosing to do this. Like,
No,
and I mean, all
that's-
those other people chose to too. There's no conspiracy about it.
You're actually wrong. What actually happened was that this sweet, innocent 10-year-old girl was playing in her Swedish school when these dark, shadowy cloaked figures appeared. You know, like you'd see them pull down the hood, and one of them would be covered in like piercings, and the other
One
would
of them might
like,
have had a
blue hair or something,
yarmulke.
like-
I don't know. Wink, wink.
Yeah, they actually just climbed over the fence and abducted her and brainwashed her. Probably, you know, I don't know. I don't know. It's just, is this how people think? Is this what they think happens? Like,
I don't
it's-
know.
does Greta herself have any agency? Is she capable? Do these people think that she's capable of making decisions for herself?
At 16, I think you can actually make like Touring News got really really upset when people started talking about how she's 16, and he's just like, look, the next person that brings it up, gets the ban hammer, because, this is ridiculous. It doesn't make them any less correct on the facts. And I mean, I watched some of I forget who. I think it was a Central Committee actually that was watching some of the videos of them sitting down at the hearing, and they like, no, it was actually, it was Touring, and like the politicians kept trying to be condescending and playing rhetorical tricks against them, like the right leaning ones, and they had an answer for everything. That, I don't care if they're not adults or not. They answered it better than adults asked the questions, and better than the adults asked the questions, or answered. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, the most charitable interpretation of his argument, and I shouldn't be charitable, but I'm going to be. The most charitable interpretation of his argument is that he's arguing that the optics of it doesn't look very good. It's not an argument about whether she's correct or not. It's just an argument about how you convince people things. So, yeah, you could, if you really wanted to go down the route, you could argue, yeah, sure, perhaps there's somebody else who'd be a better figurehead, whatever. That really doesn't matter. That doesn't address whether she's correct or not. It has no bearing on whether what she said is true. It has no bearing on what she said is right, whether we need to act on this, whether we need to do something else. And it's like that with all sorts of things. It's like, yeah, well, China's not doing anything. Does that mean that America shouldn't do anything?
Yeah. In fact, that was the same answer that one of the, it wasn't Greta, but it was this American kid, it was a guy. And he's because he was asked that by one of these politicians, and he's like, don't you think that America would be served better leading by example, and actually doing something?
Oh God, this goes back so far. Like in 2003, I think it was, they held an environmental conference in Bali, right? And this is one of the really kind of early carbon treaty kind of negotiations, and they were having this really stupid argument about how they were going to define this treaty. I can find the clip of this later if you want. It'll take me a little while because it's so old and it's not something people would really have seen, right? It's a bit obscure. But they're having this debate about how they're going to do the wording of this treaty, and the US was just, the representatives of the US were just being insistent on this. They were not going to accept any changes. They were not going to accept what it said because they just didn't consider it a priority. And at one point, the representative for sorry, I'm forgetting the country. The representative for New Guinea, Papua New Guinea, stood up and he said, because the treaty decisions like this are made unanimously as well, that's important. But he said, look, America can either lead the way or get out of the room. Effectively, that's what he said. You either lead the way or we'll do this ourselves without you. And at that point, and there's a lot of disparity in treaty negotiations because American negotiators have like a massive team of people, and like the guy from Bali will just be like the guy from Bali, right? Or the guy from Nepal or whatever. But
I mean, we have
it's...
pull in the world. They like because like most of the financial institutions are in our country and operated by us. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kershmo. You know, I think the fact that we would be willing to lead on this and do something about it is good. And I mean, I love Coop. I wanted to say hi to him when he was in. He's my buddy, but he is pretty right wing. But you know, I tried to point out to him that the reason we started to lead under Obama, you know, because there was investment there by the government, because that innovation does not happen without investment from the government. I mean, hell, it's how fossil fuels became a big industry in the first place. We still have those. We still have those. Oh God, what are they called? I'm forgetting words now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still giving the oil companies money to develop an energy that is now over 100 years old.
Yeah. No, I have found the clips. I'll post it in the chat in a second. But I just do think that there's, I don't know. Perhaps you should have pointed out that there are more countries in the world as well than just China and the US. Like, you know, like
It wouldn't have
Greta
mattered.
herself is, yeah, I know it wouldn't, but just
That's why I told him I wasn't gonna do homework for him, because I was like, you're not gonna listen anyways. I'm not doing fucking homework for you, bud. No.
yeah.
If you actually cared about the truth, you would look it up yourself and find out you're wrong. You would verify what I'm saying yourself. Don't give me fucking homework to prove myself right on my own channel when you're not listening to what I'm saying in the first place. No interest. None. No, he's not going to.
Yeah. But as a filthy foreigner, I found the clip. I'll post it in the chat. This is the news report about it. But the quote was, "If you're not willing to lead, then get out of the way." Because that's kind of what's happening here. I think that's what's happening with Greta and all these other people who are standing up and saying these things now. Because if the adults in the room aren't willing to deal with it, then they should well, put it not so politely, they should just fuck off. Really.
Yeah.
You know.
No, legit.
Yeah.
Legit.
Yeah.
I mean that's honestly how I feel. Literally, those kids made a more cogent statement on climate change than the adults had a rebuttal, and that's telling. But I mean, on the right, they believe that these people are inherently more intelligent because they're rich, because they ended up in positions of power. No, a lot of times these people are really, really fucking stupid. If you look into anything government has done in the past, it is not all that intelligent. Like Quentin Reviews did this great video on Area 51, and like around the time that became a thing, the U.S. was investing in a lot of really dumb things. You know, if you've ever seen The Men Who Stare at Goats, that movie is based on a true story. People trying to make ghosts pass out through brain power. But like, he tells a story about how the U-2 spy plane got shot down over Russian airspace, and in order to save face, the U.S. God, what did they do? They painted a NASA logo on another U-2 bomber and took pictures of it to say that wasn't their plane, and said that oh well, you know, it wasn't ours, it's you know, it's NASA's, and it was to track weather, and because they thought that the pilot died on impact, but the pilot survived, you know, and blabbed all this stuff that, you know, I'm working for the U.S. military, and yes, this is a military spy plane. So the Russians literally just sat on them when they had that press conference, and then released later that, hey, by the way, no, that's not true. Your pilot told us everything, And yeah, you guys are selling bullshit. But they waited for the Americans to do that first.
Yeah.
And that's the stupidest thing. They painted a logo on it.
Yeah, it's true everywhere. There's lots of people who just have a very great deal of power and a great deal of money, and a lot of them are just completely incompetent. I think perhaps it's a bit more obvious if you're from a country like the UK, where you have such an aristocratic. You do still have that kind of aristocratic sort of old money people who just, like their dad was like King Charles's bum fluffer or something, like I know the like royal toilet seat holder, that kind of stuff, and that's how they got all their money. So like, yeah, and it's obvious that these people they just got their money and that's it. It's kind of either luck or they inherited it, but they're not actually any smarter than anybody else, really. They're
yeah, the meritocracy does not exist. Like,
no, yeah.
These people are rich usually through no actions of their own. Like, intergenerational wealth has kept up a lot more people than it's let down. Like, there's no truth to the idea. Well, they'll just lose all their money if they're stupid. It's like, no, they don't. You have no idea how many people will keep them afloat in order to keep their jobs.
Yeah, it's a cycle. It reinforces itself.
Yeah, it's the Ouroboros is the fucking snake eating itself the entire time. So it's so silly, but like I think that's ultimately what he wanted to get to with his original argument about Trump being racist. When I pointed out the housing practices, like, well, was somebody else doing it? Does that matter?
He should have just asked them straight up. Do you think that people shouldn't scrutinize the president of the United States? Because that's kind of what it was like. Yeah. It was like, well, there are probably people near you who have racist opinions. Yeah, but none of the people I know are presidents of large countries.
Yeah, seriously.
Unfortunately,
yeah, I'm not voting for my dad to be the president of the country because he'd probably voice some more really weird things about Asian people.
Hell, I love my dad. I wouldn't want him to be the prime minister.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love my dad too. Like, and he would have a lot of trouble not referring to black people as the blacks, as I've heard him say. Love him to death, but I had this realization years ago that I was like, oh my god, my dad's a little bigoted. Yeah. And when I told my brothers, they're like, yeah.
Definitely. I know some of mine are. I knew my gran was, for example, but I still loved her. She's still my gran, but
yeah,
she did say some funny thing, funny in both senses of the word, actually. God rest her soul.
my favorite story of my dad being slightly racist is so my we were going to take my mom out for Mother's Day, and I asked her, I was like, oh well, is dad coming? Because he does not like Chinese food because he was in Vietnam. Like that's the majority of it. Like that's where his racism comes from on that. So but my mom loves Chinese food and we love Chinese food. So I asked her, well, is dad coming? Because we're gonna figure out which place will work for both of them. And she goes, oh, no, he's got something planned that day, so, yeah, it'll be just me. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, there's this Chinese place we've been wanting to check out. Let's go there. And the day of, my mom's like, oh, by the way, dad's coming. His plans fell through. I'm like, shit, should we choose a different restaurant? Because, I mean, it's not reservations. We can go someplace else. I'm like, no, it's fine. We get there, and he's having a hard time figuring out what to eat. And I swear... Yeah. I swear on everything, he said to the waiter. He said, I don't know what to get. It's not you people, it's your food.
That's awful, that's terrible.
Yeah, I started uncomfortably laughing, and my wife just grabbed my leg really hard. And we're just like, oh my god. I didn't know what else to do, but the guy didn't speak much English, and I don't think he understood that what my dad said was kind of insulting, but
yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, once you kind of realize once you kind of realize the problematic nature of like the previous generation, you can kind of like go, okay, so we are moving in a direction, and
Yeah.
I do believe we are, no matter how much they resist it. And that resistance has been around for a long time. Talking about the SJWs. I mean, they were SJWs when they were fighting for black people having civil rights.
Yeah,
But
I can even give you an example of my gran being kind of racist in what I'd consider a somewhat innocuous sort of sense. Like my cousin, who we're just going to call Mark for this. It's not his real name, but my cousin Mark uh, had a new girlfriend, right? And I went to my grand's house and I was talking to my gran and I was like, what's going on with people? What's going on with the family? And she says, "Oh, did you hear? Your cousin Mark's got a new girlfriend." Says, "Oh really? What's she? Oh really?" And she says, "Yeah, she's half caste, you know." You know what that means, right? Like half like
no, no.
half white, half black.
Oh God.
Yeah, and it's such a matter of fact thing. Like it was just like it was. I don't know why she felt the need to tell me. Like I'm sure I would have figured it out. Like if I ever met her, but
Oh,
I don't know.
I get that a lot. Like if someone like knows that my wife's black and like someone else is like saying something just out of nowhere, and like you could tell when they're like really uncomfortable, they'll just out and they're like, Mark has a black wife, and they're like,
Yeah,
and I'll just sit there and be like, thanks for volunteering that information for me.
I,
It's
I,
so
I yeah.
ugh.
I don't know why she said it. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe she was proud or something because she was very happy when she said it. It didn't sound like she was upset or anything. I just so totally kind of like I was like, okay,
Oh
thanks,
yeah, it's that total like just to say generally white person thing where you know we just want to be like, yeah, it's so exotic. How about that? Yeah, yeah. It's like, no, no. Why do you don't make this a thing? If you make it a thing, it's a thing. Just let it go. Like the only reason I bring up my wife in those contexts is like to show that I do have like some understanding, and living where I live, I have some understanding like of lower class and black community. And I mean, I can ask her anything and she's honest, and even then, black people aren't a monolith, but she will talk about some things that are generally widely accepted, sort of like in the white community having parents that are a lot more racist, openly racist than the next generation.
yeah. I
So
mean,
I
I,
don't know.
I I love my gran, but she definitely picked it up from the newspapers as well, and kind of like her own upbringing, and very English in a lot of ways. Not just in that kind of sense, but just culturally very kind
It,
of like a really sort of
it's a different kind of racism,
stereotypical.
right?
Kind of. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't want to say that it was any better or worse, but different probably to an extent. But
yeah.
that's because different countries, different strokes, different boats. I mean, I remember once I was speaking to her. She told me she was very worried about Russians, and this is after the Skripal poisoning. So she must have read it in the newspaper. When that bloke got poisoned in Salisbury by the Russians, Russian agents.
Mm.
Um, anyway, she was really worried about Russians and if there was any nearby and stuff like that. I was like, Gran, they're not going to come after you. For a start, you don't have any of like Putin's secrets. You don't know any of his, unless she
Oh,
did. I don't know if she did. Maybe I should have checked the documents closer after she passed away,
that,
see if
that
there's anything hidden there.
that was always my thing. Like after 9/11 too, is like they're not gonna fucking bomb Flint. Like they're gonna take one look at Flint and be like, nah, they did it to themselves.
Yeah, the only terrorist attack we had in our city was when some idiots failed to burn down a mosque because they couldn't figure out how to use petrol properly. Really quite sad in two senses of the word. Sad as in pathetic. Sad that they did it. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
but apparently we should all be very worried about what's going on. And, yeah, we kind of got onto the heavy topics now, but I
Yeah.
take it you're gonna have your debate soon, right?
Well, it's not a debate. They just want
I
me on
guess
to
so.
kind of talk about like we're gonna agree on everything. I don't know when. Um, like he said, give him an hour. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
I'll leave you to it anyway because I'm gonna go do some other stuff. But you can watch that video, and it is an interesting video.
yeah.
Like I
It's
don't
not
know.
too long too, so that's perfect.
Yeah. All right. I'll see you later.
All right, later, man. Good talk.
See you. Bye.
Uh, yeah, I meant to bring it up to you that I play. I think I tried to, and like we got like talking over to each other. But yeah, I play bass for that band. We're actually recording right now. Not playing any shows. Um, but I play bass and guitar, do backing vocals. I used to sing when my throat was not destroyed from my Barrett's esophagus. You can hear it sometimes in my voice. Like I get like a lot of phlegm back there, and when I get like really shouty, it starts to hurt. So it's one of those things. So I don't sing anymore. Still can, just not a lot. Yeah, let's check this video out. I think this will be interesting, and then we'll head over and see if they're ready for me.
Secretariat, and I would like to ask apologies from the Secretariat.
It was this blunt request from China that caused such drama here in Bali. The Chinese accusing the UN climate chief Ivo de Boer of not running the talks properly, with 2 meetings carrying on simultaneously.
The Secretariat was not aware that parallel meetings were taking place and was not aware that text was being negotiated elsewhere.
But he was overcome with exhaustion and emotion and left in tears.
There's I know the Department of Justice did a study under Obama that was really really interesting. Um, there's a number of studies that studied the FBI crime statistics that a lot of those types like to use. They talk about the black on black crime, but they talk about they point out the instances of racial targeting, basically profiling. That's a word. There's also there's no stats for that. I thought there was I mean, there is an extent that like because of how police records are taken care of or not taken, there's a tendency to like they don't even report shootings properly, the killings properly. They don't talk about how the killings went down or anything like that. Like there's a whole thing. Yeah, stats for institutional racism. Yeah, I mean they're like I said the Department of Justice study. There's the study on the Are you? On Central Committee? Oh, Amy? Oh, not again. Shit. Ugh. Send her my love. I'm so sorry. Jesus Christ. But yeah, there was the study on the stop and frisk laws in New York that showed that black people were 80% more likely to be stopped than white people. Some people were even getting stopped multiple times a day by the same cops. But yeah, that was really interesting. It's just sort of a lot of the only actual state-funded study that they had to connect any of the dots on that was the Department of Justice study. Oh boy. Well, it's honestly not that hard to explain. It's when stop and frisk was a thing in New York, it was a cop sees you, and if he had a reason to suspect you of something, he could stop you and frisk you to find anything. Yeah, the Department of Justice study is really good, because that's where they get into warning about the infiltration of white supremacist groups in there. I think in that one they talk about Atomwaffen being in not only in but based out of the U.S. military. That's a whole thing. I'm pretty sure that's where that came from. Yeah, without probable cause. Basically, you look like you are up to no good. Let me frisk you to make sure you don't have anything on you. And they did. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know, it's easy for me to talk about schooling because, like, living where I live, like, that is a big thing here. We've lost, God, 4 school districts, 5. I mean, some of it was due to population decrease, but there was a lot of it that got shut down just because we couldn't afford them. That happened under the emergency financial manager. The less said on that, the better. Oh, that would be fun to look up. Look up the emergency financial manager bill in Michigan. Everything from how it was passed to its implementation. Yeah. Yeah. Shit. For the longest time, we would go over to this Walgreens that we go to all the time. Like, all the time. I've gone to it since it opened, almost 20 years ago now. And we lived over there. I snuck up on the manager several times, spying on my wife around a corner, and, like, tapped him on the shoulder and be like, "What are you doing?" Like, more than once. And when I wasn't there, like, she knew he was there. She was wearing scrubs and a name tag from her work, which was around the corner. And, like, he would follow her. Yeah. And, like, I kept having to go, "Dude, what are you doing? That's my fucking wife." It's like, you know who we are. We're here all the goddamn time. You're the closest store. What the hell, man? So, yeah. And the story about, I don't know if you're here for that, Osiris, the story about how my wife is constantly not recognized as a nurse. 100% true. Nursing home she worked at, everyone from EMS to pharmacy techs that would come in, they were always like, "Where's the nurse?" And she'd have a pin that said "charge nurse" on it. And they just ignore it, and she'd go, "I'm the nurse." And they go, "All right, well, I guess I'll just find him myself." More than once. That's some good old Midwestern racism, not as obligatory as the Southern racism. Yeah, no, seriously, true shit. It doesn't happen at the job she's at now because she doesn't deal with any of that. Yeah, no, I'm 100% serious. It happened all the time, and, like, it became a regular thing for my wife to call me on her lunch and be like, "It happened again." It happened at least 5 or 6 times, I'd say. And she was there for 4 years, I believe. Yeah. Midwest is, it's still racist.